man of honor. I am grateful for breath and life. I arise, I shine. I am aware of my essence, and I know who I am. I am the salt of the earth. I am the light of the world. I am handsome, charismatic, charming, gifted, and bold. I am compassionate, selfless, generous, kind, and trustworthy. I am prudent, patient, and responsible. I am resilient, persistent, diligent, and sensitive. I am wealthy. I have power and authority. I am humble. I am a provider, protector, keeper, and lover. I have dignity, wisdom, and discretion. I am discerning. I have knowledge, insight, and understanding. I sense, I see, and I seize every opportunity. I make the right choices. I am always ready for a great future. I am enterprising, productive, prosperous, and succeeding. Everything I touch increases in value. I excel in all that I do. I live my dreams and vision purposefully. I enjoy and live every moment in love and at peace. I seek good in all things. I hear about and speak only of wonderful things. I'm respected everywhere I go. I am content and satisfied. I deeply enjoy my life and relationships. I love all and I am loved by all. I experience a wholesome life balance and personal power. I have true happiness, peace, tranquility, and joy. I am confident and passionate. I am secure and fulfilled. I live to love and I love to live. I am free. I am alive. I am a man of honor. I have absolute power. I create my possibilities. Only the best is what I deserve. I am free, bold, and confident. I think, see, and experience abundance. I care for people. I live a charitable life daily. My destiny is secure. I daily discover and give expression to my essence. I am a solution. I am committed to serve humanity. Life rewards me handsomely and generously for the problems I solve. The world needs and demands for me daily. I excel in everything I do. I love, respect, and honor everyone, including my enemies. Everyone loves, respects, and honors me. I daily plant and harvest my seed of success and greatness. I have a positive mental attitude. I pursue God and I submit absolutely to His sovereignty. God is my source. I believe in God. I am grateful and thankful. I daily achieve my goals. I am aware of and follow my inner compass. My intentions, thoughts, and beliefs are right, excellent, pure, lovely, admirable, noble, and true. I know what I want. It aligns with my values and beliefs. I create my desired future. I feel accomplished. I am diligent and consistent. I am focused, persistent, and resilient. My desired future is in perfect alignment with God's will and plans for me. I am purpose-driven. I am happy. I live in harmony, peace, and tranquility. I have integrity and I am honest. I seek truth always. I am a learner. I have knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. I am humble and content. I live to love and love to live. I am selfless and generous. I am grateful and thankful. Everything is possible for me. I sense, see, and seize every opportunity. I also create my opportunities. I am open-minded. My gates are open continually. I operate under God's divine favor and grace. God is with me, for me, and in me. I achieve effortlessly. I am a miracle. I'm a man of honor. I am grateful for breath and life. I arise, I shine. I am aware of my essence, and I know who I am. I am the salt of the earth. I am the light of the world. I am handsome, charismatic, charming, gifted, and bold. I am compassionate, selfless, generous, kind, and trustworthy. I am prudent, patient, and responsible. I am resilient, persistent, diligent, and sensitive. I am wealthy. I have power and authority. I am humble. I am a provider, protector, keeper, and lover. I have dignity, wisdom, and discretion. I am discerning. I have knowledge, insight, and understanding. I sense, I see, and I seize every opportunity. I make the right choices. I am always ready for a great future. I am enterprising, productive, prosperous, and succeeding. Everything I touch increases in value. I excel in all that I do. I live my dreams and vision purposefully. I enjoy and live every moment in love and at peace. I seek good in all things. I hear about and speak only of wonderful things. I'm respected everywhere I go. I am content and satisfied. I deeply enjoy my life and relationships. I love all and I am loved by all. I experience a wholesome life balance and personal power. I have true happiness, peace, tranquility, and joy. I am confident and passionate. I am secure and fulfilled. I live to love and I love to live. I am free. I am alive. I am a man of honor.
All right, everyone. Welcome to day two of the Manly Man Summit, and we are so grateful that we're doing this the second day. Yesterday was awesome. We had amazing feedbacks yesterday. Amazing feedbacks. So it's been so fantastic. In fact, some of the things we got, some of the feedback we got, stories we got was so encouraging. And today we are back again, day two. And I tell you what, today will be better than yesterday. All right. So I want you guys to
Definitely.
start sharing the link, start sharing the link, start inviting your friends, and start talking to everyone that you know, man, woman, and let them just get in and jump in for day two. All right. Thank you very much. Femi, you're welcome. How are you doing today?
I'm good, and thanks for asking. How are you also?
I'm all right. I'm good also. I'm good. So how has it been for you? So let's hear from you the recap of yesterday.
All right. Yesterday was mind blowing, starting from Stephen and also your own section. And I think the panel session was also very hot, and the men were very vulnerable. If I could do a bit of recap, listening to what Olumide shared with us, majorly was talking about that for you to be a man, you have to be mentored. That's the summary of it all. You have to be fathered. There must be a father figure that molds and builds you. And I remember him talking about the three major things that you need from a father, talking about acceptance, belief, pride, trust, and those were actually powerful things that many men may not know that they need to get from a father. And for me, those are some of the pivotal parts of being a man. And I remember him saying that the essence of masculinity actually is fatherhood. For me, that was mind blowing. Was mind blowing. And for me, I learned a lot from that. And for me, it's one of the key things I believe as a man we cannot actually play down on. Rather, there are some things we need to capitalize on so that we can begin to build more men, more manly men, if I can use that word. And the session with Williams Chukudi was also beautiful. When he was talking about gratitude, for me that was key. And the one from me actually was the do-it-yourself part of it. And I love the reminder I got when you talked about that food actually helps your mood, and food has a way of food carry information that affect our DNA. For me, that was a wake up call for me. I won't lie to you. All right, was a wake up call for me. Talking about the food can affect your DNA, and I love the part when you're talking about sleep. Because men love to work. As a matter of fact, we define manhood majorly by work. And when you talk about that sleep, there is nothing to brag about the lesser number of hours you sleep. Nothing to brag about it. So so hearing you talk about sleep for me was also mind blowing. And also talking about addiction and how addiction can terribly affect us as men. Also was a good one for me yesterday. Then also men refusing to go for checkup also can avoid it can help us actually catch things It's like I said, it's teaching time, saves 9. For me, that checkup also was also good, and the power of exercise was also very, very good for me. Then the panel discussion yesterday, all about sex, was a wild one. I enjoyed that those sessions, talking with the men, asking some salient questions, questions around how far is too far, questions around what can you do to spice up your sexual experiences, questions around what sex means to a man. For me, yesterday was a total package. For me, it was a total package. It was all feeling. It was all feeling, and it kind of put us on a good pedestal for the two speakers that we're going to be having today, and also the panel discussion for today. So for me, yesterday was mwah, I enjoyed myself. I enjoyed myself.
Wow, beautiful. Yeah, for I there's something very significant that Steve said yesterday that we all have to go and remember when he talked about generational curse and he linked it to being not fathered, right? So when a fathered person unfathers another son, it is just simply a flow of a cause of disempowerment. It's a flow of
Yeah.
abuse and disgrace, and that is what today we call generational curse. And so, and he made a very profound call that we should be the one that should do a transition in our families as men. We should be
Mhm.
side that the call stops here, right? And the call can begin here. So very profound that we understand that it is in within our power and within our reach to be the one to start the next vision. All right. So thank you so much. Thank you. So I got to you now, FLA. So I leave the studio to you now while you do your thing. God bless you.
All right.
We already have Steve.
All right. All right. Thank you so much, sir. Where are my people now? Where are my people? It's time for us to get ready for what is about to happen. For me, I want to hear from you this very moment. How was yesterday for you? If you can put on a comment section, I would sincerely appreciate. How was yesterday's session for you? What are your major takeout from yesterday's session? If it's possible, let me put on a comment section. I would love to read what yesterday looks like for you because today is loaded. Today is packed. We have two major speakers for us today. And we're still going to have a panel conversation after, I think, in the middle of it all. We have Steve Harris for us today. Steve Harris is going to be our first speaker today. Then we also have our first foremost African peak performance coach, the Catalyst himself. He's also going to be joining us live today. Joining us live today. So it's going to be a total package now. So let's tell somebody to tell somebody that we are live. The Manly Man Conference and Summit is live right now. So tell somebody, share the link with your friends and colleagues that we're live right now. So I want to hear from us. What was yesterday for you? How was yesterday for you? What did you learn yesterday that you strongly believe it's something you want to share? So let me read that in the comment section. I can't find anybody yet in the comment section. How was yesterday for you? How was yesterday for you? Let me hear from you now. Let me hear from you now how yesterday was for you. I want to read from somebody. I want to read from somebody. How was yesterday for you? I've shared my own thoughts, and I strongly believe you have a lot of things to share about yesterday. I believe you have a lot to share about yesterday. So, where is it for us? Where is it? 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 How was yesterday for you? Talk to me, somebody. How was yesterday for you? How was yesterday for you? I really want to hear from someone. I'm trying to check if there are comments or thoughts in here. How was yesterday for you? What did you learn yesterday? What did you learn yesterday? Okay. I think I'm saying something in here. All right. So thank you, Benjamin. Benjamin, yesterday was great and it was also educating. Thank you for sharing, Benjamin. Thank you for sharing. Who else want to tell us how was yesterday for you? Because I'm going to be calling out right now our speaker, our first speaker today. I'm going to bring it up our first speaker today. All right. How was yesterday for you? And also, if you can, tell me where you're joining us from. Tell us where you're joining us from. I'm joining in from Lagos, Nigeria. So where are you joining us from right now? Where are you joining us from? Where? Which part of the world are you joining us from? I'm in Lagos, Nigeria. Otto, thank you for joining. How was yesterday for you, Otto Wabweze? And where are you joining us from? Benjamin, where are you joining us from? And okay, Benjamin, you told us how yesterday was for you. Very educated, beautiful. Otto also is in Lagos, Nigeria. Wow, beautiful. Thank you, Otto. How was yesterday for you, Otto in Zerebek? Wabweze, sorry. How was yesterday for you? Because I'm going to bring you the first speaker today right now, so we don't actually hit into his time, because you really want to hear this man speak. I can tell you for free. You really would love to hear this man speak. Yeah, Williams, Lagos, Nigeria. Thank you, sir. All right. Thank you, Praise. Praise said yesterday was a blessing for him. I like that. Thank you, Praise. Yesterday was a blessing for you. Beautiful. All right. That's the man from Sokoto. Is the emir of Sokoto, if I can use that one. There's only one Sultan of Sokoto, but there's another emir in Sokoto. That's Collins for you. All right. So it's time for us to enjoy the special time with our first speaker today. Thank you, Benjamin from Georgia. Emmanuel from Istanbul, Turkey. Thank you, Emmanuel. Thank you, Benjamin. All right, so let's get started tonight. Before I bring in our first speaker, who I believe is right behind us, it's right in the studio with us right now. Okay, thank you, Collins. eBay says, yesterday was wonderful. I'm very educated. Light hits me when Stephen said that a man cannot be self-made. That hit my spirit strongly because I'd always tried to be self-made, and it's very tiring. Yes, you're correct, sir. Very tiring. Very tiring. So men actually need to be fathered. So let's get into the business of today, because Steve Harris is someone you really need and would love to listen to. Who is Steve Harris? Steve Harris happens to be an individual, a brand who likes to help individuals, high-performing individual and institution, bridge the gap between their performance and potential. And over the last couple of months, he has helped many clients earn several $1 million through his coaching programs. I can testify to that. And he is exceptionally good at high-performance coaching and business acceleration. He said, one thing I love about Steve is he's very blunt. And Steve says, sorry to many people try to be modest about what they're good at. I don't know why, but that's not me. That's not Steve. So Steve says, I'm really good at what I do, and I'm not shy about it. So between May and September 2015, and as well as April 2016, Steve was listed among the world's top 100 business coaches to follow on Twitter. And that's very phenomenal. And he's been featured in several magazines, from Economist to Slate Magazine, Yahoo Finance, and other news, print, and digital media. In June 2019, Steve was featured in Forbes Africa, and that for me is also a big one. And one of the keys about Steve is he's tough. He's tough. Steve is very tough. There's a big grammar here, but let's get into the meat of the matter. Steve is a certified member of International Coaches Federation and also a member of the ELCAN, Life Coaches Association of Nigeria. And this year, Steve also was called into the Forbes Coaching Council, which for me is also a big one on Steve Harris' part. He's also a member of American Association of Small Business Consultants in Texas, US, and also a member of International Certified Consultants Association in Canada. Gentlemen and the ladies that love men, I want us to welcome right now Steve Harris.
Hey, bro. Good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see you.
Good to see you. How are you, sir?
I'm good. I'm good. It looks like you're catching up with me where it comes to being gray. So I can see you're gray.
No, it's part of managing the business of my talent.
I know, right? I know. It's good to see you. Good to see you.
All right, sir. All right, let's put the emoji in here and welcome Savaris as he shares with us this very morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are. All right, over to you.
Hi. Hello, everyone. Good, whatever your time zone is. It's morning here. It's about 11 a.m. here, Dallas, Texas time. I should be in church, but this is also the kingdom, right? This is also the kingdom, and I get to share some of my thoughts with you concerning being a manly man. Shout out to the convener, Williams Chukwudi, who's an amazing gentleman who exemplifies and embodies and epitomizes everything it means to be a manly man. And I want to say thank you for the privilege of being a part of this event. Total salute to you, sir. All right. I know I can't see your comments because I'm in the studio back at the back end, so I can't see your comments in front. And we're going to be talking about what it means to be a manly man. I know that some amazing speakers have come before me, like my big brother, Dr. Stephen, and then of course the catalyst himself, who's coming immediately after me. So I like to think of myself like the John the Baptist, because somebody's coming behind me whose shoes I'm not worthy to untie and whose beard is way more whiter, grayer, and sexier than mine. So yeah, just to put that out there. All right, so I got this topic. Williams wanted me to speak about taking action as men. And to be honest, I don't even know where to go with this because it's such a title, such a difficult title for me though. But I'm just going to share from my experiences, right, what it means to be a man, and I hope that will benefit you as well. Now, I mean, I know that being a man today in today's world is constantly being discussed. Some people would say, oh, people are biological males and people can transition. And, I'm not going in that direction. But I think being a man is about being an example. I think being a man is about being a standard. I think being a man is about representing God. And I don't mean that from the religious perspective. I think being a man is about dominion. It's about authority. It's about creativity. It's about responsibility. Being a man is not just a gender role, it's also a role of responsibility, right? When God made man, Adam, first in the garden, he created man from the perspective of someone who would reflect God. And I don't mean reflect God from a religious perspective, because I constantly teach that God is not a religious figure, God is a king. And when God made man, he created someone who would reflect him. And he expects man to reflect him in his creative abilities, because God is creative. He created man from a role of responsibility, because God he saw that the earth was without form and void, and he spoke into it, and he took responsibility for a darkened world, and he spoke and he says, let there be light. So being a man is about responsibility. Being a man is about exercising dominion. It's about exercising the borders of what is possible, and then, creating a standard that is passed across to our children. I'll give you an example. It's a very personal example. I've been married this year 14 years, right? And we moved to the United States about slightly over a year ago. And Japain, quote unquote, is not easy, and for me, moving was about repositioning globally. I wasn't trying to escape anything. I was just trying to reposition globally, because I felt like to some degree I had conquered Nigeria to some degree in terms of visibility. I was becoming better known in Africa, but I wanted to take my skills globally. You know how it is. You can be a football player playing in Nigeria and you're doing well, but you want to play Champions League, so you need to go where the champions are. And that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be in the best, among the best of the best in the world. So I took my skills to the US. And in taking my skills to the US, I recognized that there were certain things that I had been insulated from. So, for example, in Nigeria, I had a driver, I had housekeepers, I had all those sorts of things that is a support system. But now, it's just myself, my wife, and my daughter. And I realized that just like everybody who moves to the US, that you've got to be responsible for helping out around the house. So I take out the trash, I sweep, I clean. I mean, these are things I haven't done in years because I've always had people doing them. And here I am, I'm sweeping, I'm cleaning, I'm mopping, I'm taking out the trash, I'm babysitting, whatever. And, my wife is sending me, oh, God, we need to buy milk, we need to buy water. So I'm getting up, I'm driving, so it's just a lot of just total change. And it takes a lot of adjusting, to be honest. And in that place of adjusting, I remember that, my wife said to me, she says, I don't think we're being friends anymore. I think we're snapping at each other a little bit more. Because I hate to break it to you, it's not like, living here is not like living in Nigeria where, for example, you pay your rent for a year and you're good. Here, you got to pay your bills every freaking month. So I'm paying bills every month and my rent is like $2,400. Try not to calculate. Don't do the math in Naira, just whatever. I know some people have already calculated the Naira. What's $2,400 times whatever the number is? That's what I pay in a month. My rent in Nigeria, I used to live in I have a house, but I also rent out a house. So my rent in Nigeria was 1.5 million Naira for a 5-bedroom house with a BQ. Now what I pay in a month is what I pay. What I pay in a month is what I used to pay in a year. So it has had to stretch me. And I think that's one of the things that being a man requires. It requires the ability to be stretched but not broken. And life will throw things at you that will stretch you and threaten to break you because we're constantly expanding. We're constantly expanding. Now, guess what? Living in Nigeria, I mean, if you do the math, and I wish I could see the comments, unfortunately I can't. But if you do the math and you say, okay, Steve is paying, he's paying, let's say 2004 times, I don't know how much the Naira dollar exchange rate is, but I'll just get my calculator and show you just to do an example, 2,400 times, let's say $700. I know it's more than that. So I pay 1.68 million Naira every month as rent. If I was living in Nigeria, 1.68 million Naira as rent. So this 1.6 million is more than what I used to pay in a year. I used to pay 1.5 for a year. Now I'm paying 1.6 in a month. Times 12 is 20 million Naira. So I'm paying 20 million Naira as rent in a year. Now, here's the interesting thing. When I was in Nigeria, I could afford 20 million Naira, but I could never justify paying 20 million Naira for rent. So what am I saying? I'm saying if I was still living in Nigeria and I had 20 million Naira, I should be living in Banana Island. I could have been living in Banana Island. Do you get what I'm saying? I could be living in Banana Island comfortably or one of those really expensive other places because I have 20 million Naira. But guess what? When I was in Nigeria, I didn't know I had the capacity to be stretched to make 20 million Naira and pay it as rent. But now I have come into a circumstance that challenges me, that has stretched me to be able to bring out of myself 20 million Naira as rent in 1 year. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. I'm saying being a man stretches you. It stretches the living daylights out of you. You don't know what you're capable of until you stretch yourself. But the problem with many of us is we get into a place that we feel that we're getting to our breaking points. being a man talks about responsibility. So give you an example. I'm trying to be practical. And please, admin, if you could do me a favor, private chat me, let me know how many minutes I am. So if I have 10 minutes, just say 10 minutes left. So just keep me on task, right? So keeping it very practical, right? So I'm in the United States and I came in with a different visa category. So the visa category I'm on is something called the Extraordinary Ability Visa. So I'm on a visa that says that Steve Harris is in the 1% of his industry. Therefore, he is incredibly sought after. So the United States has categories for people, different categories. There's the tourist visa, there's investment visa, all sorts of visas. But the visa that I'm on is a special talents visa. It's an extraordinary ability visa that suggests that Steve Harris is in the top 1% of his field and it should be a global citizen. Therefore, he's coming to the United States, yada, yada, yada. Now, the interesting thing about that visa is that it doesn't allow me to work. So I'm not allowed to get a job. I'm not allowed to get a job. I'm not allowed to work. So I cannot be hired by any organization as an individual. My company can be hired, but I as an individual cannot get a job. Now, it's very interesting and challenging. I will say the least. I'm trying to be practical, use my experiences. I'm not trying to give you principles. I'm telling you my story, and hopefully from my story, you get a principle. So I'm not sharing principle. I'm just sharing my story. All right. So because of that visa, it's caused me to be very, very creative. Now, when I came into the US, December 1st, 2022, I believe it was, December 1st, 2021, December 1st, 2021, I think. I remember going for an event. My sister was organizing a Christmas party, so she invited all her friends. And her friends came for the, guys and girls. And, I saw lots of guys. So I was meeting everybody and, we sat down talking. And I asked this guy, what do you do? He said, IT. What do you do? I said, the guy said, IT. What do you do? IT. There were like 7 guys. All of them were into IT. And they asked me, what do you do? Well, I said, I'm into business coaching, entrepreneurship, strategy, consulting. They're like, guy, now you no go work here. I'm like, what? Say no go work here. That's guy, go get a job, go get a job. Go and do IT, do data analysis, business, because forgive me, my pigeon is terrible. Now the team where they sell, go do data analysis, business analysis, go do IT course, do Scrum Master, right? After a while, you can get a job as a Scrum Master, get a job as a data analyst, get a job as a business analyst, right? And I'm not going to lie to you, listening to those guys, I felt a very strong sense of inferiority complex. I felt a very strong sense of inferiority because here are these guys that they were taking care of their bills. They're all in IT. And they made, because what they were doing was so big, they made what I was doing so small. I hope you get what I'm saying. Because what they were doing with their lives seemingly was so big because these guys were earning $180,000 a year, $150,000 a year. And in my mind, when I calculate 150,000 times 700 naira, oh my God, these guys are making so much money. So what they were doing seemed so big, but what they saw about what I was doing, they made it seem so small. And I remember after the event, I got back home and I started second guessing myself. Especially because I realized that my bank account balance was dropping by the day because you're paying rent every month, yada, yada, yada. And I started second guessing myself and it put me in a place of depression, to be honest. I don't get depressed. Every day today, these days, it seems like everybody is very excited about having a mental health issue. And yes, I agree that mental health is a real thing and people have mental health issues. But I feel like every day, people today are just picking because mental health seems to be in style. So everybody, may I have ADHD, or may I have this, or may I have this. Everybody, it just seems to be sexy to have a mental health problem, to be honest. And I'm not deriding those who truly do suffer from mental health issues and need therapy and help. But I'm just simply saying that it's just very easy for people to cop and say, oh, I have a mental health issue. I'm depressed or I'm this. And I'm never one of those guys. But for the first time in my 40 odd years, I got depressed because I started thinking that maybe what I was doing was no longer good enough. They were telling me things like, this is not America, the level person, America, the humble everybody. You go drive Uber. You got to drive an Uber. You've got to DoorDash. DoorDash means you deliver people's food. People place an order at a restaurant. You sign onto the app. The app notifies. It's just like Uber, but it's like Uber for delivering food, right? Uber Eats, DoorDash. You have to hustle. And I remember my sister was telling me, like, listen, this is America, man. You've got to pay your bills. Maybe you can drive an Uber. If you're lucky, you can make like $200 a day. And all I kept, and they meant well, they mean well, but all I kept saying to myself was, I felt insulted. Do you get what I'm saying? I felt really, really insulted. Like, do you know who I am? Like, do you know who the hell I am? Show more age me. You know what I'm saying? And please don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to discountenance or disparage anybody who is driving an Uber or delivering groceries or any of those things. You got to do what you got to do to take care of your bills. It is honest work, right? But I could not, in the life of me, consider that I would get into a car and deliver groceries or drive an Uber so that I can make $200 in a day. And it's very hard where life is trying to break you. But I'm trying to tell you, life is not trying to break you. Life is trying to test you. Because life will give you choices. As a man, life will give you choices. The road less traveled or the road most traveled. A life of ease or a life of stress. A life where you stress yourself now so you can be comfortable later, or a life where you stress yourself consistently and just get comfort food. Right? And so when everybody was telling me that, I was like, dude, I'm sorry, this is not pride, but do you know who I am? And, my sister's very honest. She's like, see, forget about who you are. This is America, the humble person. You need to pay your bills, fam. There's no shame in driving an Uber. And yes, there's no shame. There are people who drive really nice cars here and they drive an Uber. It's just extra money, just extra $200. And I'm like, $200? $200? Are you kidding me? To the American, it's a lot of money. Because there's minimum wage, and minimum wage is not a lot. But if you make $200 a day, it's like you're making a lot of money in 1 month. You make $6,000 or whatever. If you do it every day, like $6,000 just doing the same thing. And I'm like, I'm sorry, but one of the things that I know that God has told me is that to earn more, you must do less. To earn more, you must do less. To earn more, you must do less. And it sounds like it's a contrary thought, because I'm not saying you have to be lazy, but one of the things that, let me put context behind it so that you know what I mean, so that it's not, so someone doesn't just take it and say, Steve says you have to do less so you can earn more. Let me give you context. So I was doing very well in Nigeria, consultants, coach, doing very, very well. And I remember to the point where, I've been doing a lot of consulting for corporations in Nigeria, banks, telcos, and they pay me and my company a lot of money. But I soon got tired of having to go back and forth. I soon got tired of having to wake up at 4 a.m. in the morning, get into, just to, get my driver, and then we leave the house at 5 a.m. so that we can avoid Ajah traffic and Lekki traffic, then get to the venue of whatever training session, whatever clients is having, maybe on the mainland. And I get there by 7 a.m. And then I try to sleep for an hour in the car. Then by 8 a.m., I get into the presentation and I train them from like 8 a.m. to like 5 p.m. And then from 5 p.m., I get into the car and get into Lekki traffic, third mainland traffic, Lekki traffic, Ajah traffic. And then I get home like 10 p.m., even though I'm making hypothetically minimum $1 million a day, right? So I'm making $1 million a day, but I feel like a very highly paid employee. So I started feeling like a very highly paid employee so that I can speak for 2 days I'll make 2 million, 3 days 3 million. I'm making a lot of money, but I feel very highly paid as an employee. I feel like a very highly paid employee because I have to wake up early, do the whole rat race thing, get up early, avoid traffic, get there, then come back, get into traffic, get home, and do the whole thing again. So I felt like I was working hard to make money. I was working hard to make money. And I was praying to God, like, Lord, come on, man, there's got to be an easier way. And one day God tells me to earn more, you have to do less. So I had to sit down, and sometimes God doesn't explain; He doesn't give you details; He just gives you an instruction. Then that's why the Bible says, and please forgive me if I misquote it. It says, "It is the glory of God to conceal a matter; it is the glory of kings to unravel and reveal a matter." So God gives you insight; He can give you an instruction, but where your glory comes is meditating on that instruction and breaking it down and trying to reveal what's God saying. So when God says to me, "To earn more, you got to do less," I sat down with that question. I sat down with that statement for like a couple of weeks. And then it came to me that God was telling me that I needed to replicate myself. I needed to scale, that it wasn't sustainable for me to go out consistently. Let me give you a quick example, and I'm not trying to be your pastor, but the Bible says that when Isaac wanted to bless his sons, he called Esau, and he tells Esau to go to the field, go get me some venison, so that you can make delicious food for me, so that my soul can bless you. So if you don't mind, let me just open it, because I just want to explain something. This is not a Bible study, but I'm trying to explain what it means to be a man. Give you a quick. Esau and Jacob is, I'm trying to get chapter and verse. Esau and Jacob, come on, man. Where are you at? I'm sorry, I don't know exactly what verse it is, chapter, verse. I'm not a pastor. Okay, I'm almost there. Yes. All right, so this is Genesis 27, right? Genesis 27. And now when Isaac was old and his eyes were too dim to see, he called his elder and favorite son Esau, and he said to him, "My son, I'm old. I don't know when I'm going to die. Take your hunting gear, quiver of arrows, your bow, go to open country, hunt game for me, make me a savory and delicious dish of meats, the kind I love. Bring it to me to eat so that my soul will bless you before I die." All right. So guess what? Isaac calls Esau in verse 2. Listen, this is very important. He calls Esau in verse 2, tells him to go hunting. Rebecca hears the gist and tells her son Jacob in verse 5, "Listen carefully. I hear your father saying to Esau, go and bring me game, yada, 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 so that he can proclaim his blessing." She now says in verse 9, she says in verse 9, "Go to the flock, give me 2 goats, and I will make them into a savory dish for your father." All right. So verse 2, Isaac calls Esau. So Esau is gone from verse 3. He goes to the field hunting. In verse 6, Rebecca tells Jacob what her husband is about to do. All right. Then in verse 18, Jacob goes and provides the food to Isaac, who is blind, and he gets the blessing. Verse 18, right? And then this is important, so bear with me. By verse 27, Isaac blesses Jacob. This is very important. By verse 27, Isaac blesses Jacob. By verse 30, Esau returns. And by verse 31, Esau provides the food to his father. What am I saying? Esau hears the instruction, but by verse 2. Returns by verse 31. Jacob receives the instruction by verse 6. By verse 20, 27, he has gotten the blessing and he has jackpot. What's my point? Every time Esau needed to provide food, he had to leave his house. He had to go hunting. He had to leave his house. He had to go and, set traps and all those things. and he came late for a blessing. Meanwhile, understand this. Meanwhile, in verse, I'm sorry that I'm reading Bible plenty, but please bear with me. Meanwhile, in verse 8, Rebecca says, listen, my son, she's talking to Jacob, listen to my son, do exactly what I command. In verse 9, she says, go now to the flock and bring me 2 good and suitable goats, and I will make them into savory, delicious meal. Now, what's my point? Rebecca, Jacob had a system. They had a flock of goats. So all Jacob needed to do was go to the back of the house and bring exactly what was there. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. Esau had to go out of the house. Esau had to consistently go out of the house. He had to go out there to make his daily bread. Jacob had a system of flocks of goats that were already there. See, strategy is better than energy. Oh, you don't hear me what I'm saying, guys. Please, admin, let me know when my time is almost done. I don't want to talk too much. Strategy, send me a private message, admin. Strategy is better than energy. There are too many men who are exerting energy and they're not developing, they're not utilizing strategy. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because no small wonder that Jacob gets the food from the goats from the flock, and he uses it to prepare food. Now, here's my point. The goats outside in the bush and the goats in the back of the house, is it not goats? Do you get what I'm saying? The goats at the back of the house, the goats in the bush and the goats in the back of the house, are they not the same thing? They're both goats, isn't it? They're both goats. But Esau consistently, and guess what the Bible says, there's a proverb, the Bible says in Proverbs, that a foolish man does not roast that which he takes in hunting. That's what the Bible says. A foolish man does not roast what he takes in hunting. Now, why is that such a terrible scripture? God calls a hunter a foolish man. God calls this man who is a hunter, who has skills, who has ability, who has been trained, right? As a hunter, this guy wakes up early in the morning, goes out, sets traps, waits hours, and the animal eventually falls into his trap. He kills it. He carries it back on his shoulder, walks plenty of miles, gets back to the house, kills it, skins it, cleans it, eats it. God calls this man a foolish man. Why does he call him a foolish man? Because God says he does not roast what he gave him. He does not transform what he gave him. He does not proliferate. I have 13 minutes left. Thank you, sir. He does not proliferate. He does not refine what he took in hunting. So Esau, every time Esau needed to eat something, he would go out there, kill it. He would go out there, catch it, and kill it. Jacob, on the other hand, will catch it, bring it, and procreate it and scale it until he had a flock. No small wonder that when Jacob now jackpot, let's use the word jackpot, when Jacob now jackpot from his house and went to another country, what did he use? He used the same skills of what's the word? I don't know what the word is. Generating flock. I don't know what the word is, right? Rearing animals, rearing cattle. He did that for Laban. The Bible also said that when he wanted to get blessed, right, he told Laban, give me the speckled and the spotted, all the ones that are not, whatever is speckled and spotted, I'll take that. But what did he do? The Bible says he sat and he made sure that the animals were drinking water in front of speckled and spotted, plants, and then they gave birth to speckled and spotted animals. What am I saying? He learned a system that was scalable, even though he never needed to go out and hunting. Now, what am I saying? How does this relate to me as I'm sharing with you? So because I had to go out every single day, going out, I was hustling. But then God tells me to earn more, you got to do less. And then I created an online course, right? I created an online course, and initially, it was doing very well. I was making like maybe $10 million. So now I've gone from $1 million to now $10 million, right? With each online course. And then I get this, God gives me some more insight to earn more, do less. And I'll figure that, okay, you know what? I don't have to be the one teaching. I don't want to have to be the one coaching. Let me get amazing coaches and pay them. So I bring fantastic coaches to join me on my online course. Now, guess what? My coaches do the work. Now my coaches do the work. I'm now just the daddy Geo, so to speak, right? So I just show up once a week and I say, somebody shout hallelujah, and I talk. But my coaches are the ones who do the work. Now, guess what? My revenue has gone from 1 million to 10 million to where now, and I'm not trying to brag, and this is being very honest, to now where my online courses, that particular course has generated for me, right? And my business well over 250 million naira. To earn more, do less. So you can now understand when people are now telling me I need to go and drive Uber, or I need to DoorDash, or I need to go and do business analysis, where God is telling me in my mind that, listen, are you going to adapt? Are you going to blend in, or are you going to stand out? Standing out is the hard part because everybody around you is doing data analysis, and that's fine, and they're working 2 jobs, and that's okay. But are you going to manifest yourself, or are you going to manage to the reality that is around you? And I chose to manifest myself, because if I have generated 250 million bucks over the course of 4 years, why should I now sit down, for example, and now start hustling jobs and drive? It's like, have you forgotten who you are? Have you forgotten you will take counsel, you would learn the lay of the land, but you are a giant killer. So what am I saying to you guys? I'm saying that irrespective of the situation and circumstance that life brings to you, life will test you. Life will offer you the path of frustration, or it will offer you the path of celebration. I want to read a poem to you, right? Let me find it. Yes, I found it. It's a poem by Jesse Bell Rittenhouse. It's a poem by Jesse Bell Rittenhouse, and it says, I bargained with life for a penny. I bargained with life for a penny, and life would pay no more. However, I begged until evening when I counted my scanty store. For life is a just employer. He gives you what you ask. But once you have set the wages, why, you must bear the task. I worked for a menial hire, only to hear dismayed that any wage had I asked of life, life would have gladly paid. Can I read it to you one more time? I bargained with life and negotiated a penny, and life would pay no more. However, I begged until evening when I counted my scanty store. For life is a just employer. He gives you what you ask. But once you have set the wages, why, you must bear the task. I worked for a menial's hire, only to learn, dismayed, that any wage I had asked of life, life would have paid. So what's my point? Life will offer you stuff. And as a man, your decision is to either accept or reject the offer. When you applied to the university, if you're Nigerian, this has probably happened to you. You applied to the university to study medicine. They offered you admission. They offered you botany or zoology or animal husbandry because you didn't make the cut for medicine, right? So they offered you botany, zoology, animal husbandry. and it was called an offer of admission. What did you do? You had the choice to either accept it or reject it, knowing that rejecting it would require you sitting at home for 1 more year. But you accept the offer. You take botany, saying to yourself, let me gain the admission. Let me accept the offer, get into botany. And when I get into botany, I will change. But guess what? Life is a just employer. And once you have accepted his terms, he does not change his terms. So what happens? You notice you got into botany. Could you change? No. Did you change? No. And now you have a degree in botany. And then you say, oh, I wanted to study medicine, but they gave me botany. Nobody gave you. They offered you botany. You accepted it. So life will offer you things. And you as a manly man must be discerning to say, do I want to sacrifice and seemingly go the road less traveled? Or do I want to accept the offer and just take care of now, and forego my future? So here I am in America, surrounded by people who are doing amazing things, and they're working at amazing jobs, and they're earning amazing money. And I'm sitting down, cracking my brain. And I'm saying, Lord, you're the same guy who gave me these ideas. Or you're the one that made me a multimillionaire in Nigeria. You're the one who put me to be a 1% person in Nigeria. I am the same person, even though I'm in America. I'm going to end by giving you this example. It relates to me, and I'm sure it relates to you. We read the story of the Israelites leaving Egypt and going into the promised land. And when they're about to get into the promised land, they see a country called Jericho. And the Bible says that Jericho is straightly shut up. Jericho is securely defended. Jericho has systems and process. And Moses sends 12 of his leaders. He didn't send any guy. He sent 12 leaders to spy out the land. And we know the story. The 12 guys go into the land and they come back bearing evidence that the land that God has promised them has everything that God said. So they come back bearing pomegranates and fruits and vegetables that are so huge. They come back with evidence. And they say, look, everything God said concerning this land that he wants to give us is true. This is it. This is the evidence. But we've got a problem. There are giants in the land. And we looked at these giants, and in our sight, in our eyes, we were like grasshoppers. In our eyes, not in their eyes, in our eyes, when we looked at the giants, we looked like grasshoppers. We are not able to take the land. And the Bible says that the whole Israelite camp agreed with the 10. Like, it's true. Forget it. They took their eyes off the fruit and they started looking at the problem. Then Joshua and Caleb said, listen, that's not true. Yes, it's true that they're giants. It's true that it's food, but we are we are more than able to take this land. And guess what happened? The people did not agree. They disregarded what Joshua and Caleb said. They went with the majority. So what am I saying? Sometimes the majority is wrong. Sometimes the majority is saying all the right things, but the majority is wrong. And as a manly man, you must have that discernment to know when people are saying the things that they want to be right for you, but it's totally wrong. But guess what happened? Based on that decision, those guys spent 40 years wandering because God said, you cannot take this land. You cannot take America. You cannot take America if you still think like a slave. I'm sending you to a place that has giants because you are a giant. But as long as you think you are a slave, as long as you think you're a second-class, third-class citizen, as long as you think that you're just a regular Nigerian and you're not just black, you're African, you're not just African, you come from Nigeria. Nigeria has the worst reputation, and with our elections, it's just about to get worse. And then you're just this guy, you think you can come into America and take over. Why don't you start at the bottom and do what everybody at the bottom do? DoorDash, Uber, business analysis. And I'm not saying that it's anything wrong with that. But if you accept less than what God has prepared for you, you will spend 40 years going around and around and around and around in circles. So I shared these 3 stories with you to share my experiences with you, that give me time. People around me tell me it can't be done. People around me tell me, no, 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 you have to go and learn nursing. You have to go and learn nursing. You have to go and do IT. That's where the money is. There's money in nursing. There's money in IT. Go and do those things. You earn $150,000 a year. $150,000. Are you friggin' kidding me? I want to make $1 million in a month. I've done it before. I can do it again. Yes, there are giants in the land, but I have to choose to manifest myself. And the job of a manly man is to manifest himself. You can either manage or manifest. And I believe that God wants us all men to manifest himself. And when I say manifest himself, I'm not just saying manifest ourselves as men, manifest God inside of us. God wants us to manifest himself, to show people that in order to get to the top, you don't have to start from the bottom. Because God didn't start at the bottom. God manifested himself. Jesus did not compare himself to Abraham, Isaac, or any major prophet. When they said, oh, he said to his management team, who do men say that I am? They said, oh, you remind us of Elijah, you remind us of John the Baptist. I was like, no, that's wrong. They said, Peter now said, oh, no, these guys are wrong. You remind us that you are the Messiah, you are the Son of God, you are God incarnate. Jesus says, yes. That's why the Bible says that even though he took on the form of a man, he did not consider it robbery to be considered equal with God. God wants us to manifest himself. And that's what being a manly man, in my opinion, is. It's about manifesting God, showing up as God, and having God-like results that cause people to bow down, not at you, but to the God who is inside of you. I hope this has been beneficial. Thank you guys for having me, and thank you so much for the opportunity.
All right. Thank you so much, Steve. That was profound. That was profound. That was profound. Yeah, Williams.
Yeah, thank you, Steve. Thank you so much. Thank you. I really appreciate you. I really appreciate your time and the wisdom you always dish out. You know, amazing things you've spoken here, and people are already saying a lot on the comment section. They are getting blessed, and strategies are changing. You know, like FLA said when he was introducing you, this is a man who doesn't take no for an answer. He doesn't take nonsense. All right, and I'm so glad the day I met you. It was seamless. It was easy. No, nothing hanging. Accepted the whole invitation, or rather the whole greeting. Invited me for a lunch, and it was it. Somebody that you know. So I don't. I want to thank you for making our time. I want to thank you. So let's see if we have questions. Definitely over to you. Let's see if we have questions for Steve.
All right, all right. I think let's start for this. Okay, even before saying they should appreciate Steve, I'm already saying out or saying here, thank you, sir. Jomer Chuku says, wow. Joy gives you the blessing emoji. I think it's been mind blowing in here. I want us first to celebrate Steve. I think a lot of people try to put some of the quotes and some of the nuggets in here. But anyone with a question right here for Steve, you can put it in comment section. Let's quickly get that done in 10 minutes. Yeah, let's quickly get that done in 10 minutes.
There's question from Rahim. Can you see it?
Yeah, I saw it. Let me just go over that question right now. I think it's a combination of questions. Rahim says here now that how much time, do you dedicate to creating a strategy that works? Then he said, what is your strategy? And how do you earn more and do less? So those are 3 questions together.
Okay. I mean, definitely. I spend a lot of time thinking. I spend a lot of time improving myself, improving my craft, learning faster, more effective ways to get my customers to say yes. You know what I mean? So I do spend a lot of time. I mean, before the session, I mean, you probably, I won't show you all the details, but I was cracking my brain on some of the strategies that I need to be able to. Some people will take a screenshot of this, like, what's Steve thinking about? You know, but I was cracking my brain. I was like, oh, there are things I need to do. So let me just put my thoughts together. And, so I do spend a lot of time on strategy and just thinking, but I spend more time on execution. I think a lot of us are in our brains or in our heads. We're contemplating a lot. We're procrastinating. We want things to be perfect. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be done. You know what I mean? I think when you put things out there, you get feedback on how well or not well it was. So I'm very big on ruthless execution. So that's very important. To the second question about what did you say the second question was?
What is your strategy?
You need to pay me for that, fam. Right? No, but to be honest, I think my strategy is getting the best people to work with and giving and building a system. So, for example, my wife is as far as I'm concerned, my wife is the queen of structure. She understands process and structure, Lean Six Sigma. She understands all these things that I really hate. And so my wife always finds ways to make what I do incredibly easy because let me put it this way. I just want to be lazy. Do you get what I mean? I just want to be lazy and just show up and do the thing. So, we found ways to, so for me, I've developed a framework that irrespective of the people that work with me as coaches, whenever we have something that I'm doing, maybe like my Mastering the Business of Your Talent program, I have developed a framework so that irrespective of whoever comes, every coach who comes will be able to go through my process to give people results. You know what I mean? So I spend less time, and FLA knows this, I spend less time in showing up. Again, scripture.
True.
Jethro, the father-in-law of Moses, spends time with Moses, and he sees that Moses is adjudicating and handling every single issue. He's like, "You're going to die doing this." Moses is like, "Yeah, but God called me." He's like, "Yeah, but you're going to die doing this." Get men who are faithful and trusted, and let them deal with issues, 50s, hundreds, thousands, and those who can be dealt by the thousands, then that will come to you. And that's what I developed. So now I have an incredible team of people that I'm privileged to work with, who I have poured my spirit on, shared my process and my structure with. And even if they go and do other things, I don't care. It's the system that is the product. People don't come to my coaching, my Mastering the Business of Your Talent to see Steve Harris. They don't come to see Steve Harris. They come because the program gets you results that you probably couldn't dream of. So that is our system. So that's how that works. And I know you said there was a third question, but I can't remember what it was.
No, I think it said it was reframing what you said. But there's a question here from Joy. Joy says that how does a manly man get stretched and maintain self-discipline and humanness?
Well, I mean, accountability is one way to go. Accountability is one way to go. So, for example, I live here in the U.S. and some of my friends are here. Jimmy Tewe lives about an hour away from me. Praise for lives 30 minutes away from me, and we all have the same. We came in with the same visa, right? So, three of us have not yet. Allow me to use the word bowed to bail. We've not yet gotten a job. We've not yet, none of us have, all of us are like, see, this thing we go show them. So none of us have gone to go get a job. All of us are pulling each other. We're challenging each other. We're sharing our experiences. We're sharing the things that when one person is weak, another person is strong. Because we are here to prove that we truly are exceptional. We're here to prove that we want to become the world. Listen, I believe if Nigerians if Africans can buy from Americans, then Americans can buy from Africans. Do you get what I mean? That I believe it. If we're spending money to pay for Tony Robbins programs and any other American person's program, then they should be able to pay for us. Do you get what I mean? But we have to be positioned where they can see us. You know what I mean? So we're here to show that we will be the ones. You know what I mean? And you know that thing. By the time we blow in America, Nigeria as a result, nobody will be dragging us like Jen. Do you get what I'm saying? If we tell you our program is 10K, you will look for the money. But right now, we'll tell you it's 1K. You'll be doing us no 1K for what? Like, can I pay 100,000? Even the 100,000, you now say you want to pay in 3 installments. But when we make it here, right? It's so much easier for the world to take us more seriously. But we're taking the road less traveled. So yeah.
All right, thank you. Patrick Smart says, "I'm blown away." Wow. Now says, "Steve, what helped you discover yourself?"
What helped me discover? I have an amazing mentor called Fela Durotori. I have an amazing mentor called Fela, and I met him one day, and I saw what he was doing, and deep called onto deep. Something just said to me, "I can do this. Whatever he's doing, I can do it too." And I was humble enough to go and serve him, as difficult as it was. I was very humble. I had a job. I left my job to go and serve, and I was not being paid. So I would leave my office was in Maryland. My house was in Yanapaja. Fela's office was in VGC. So I would leave Yanapaja to go to VGC every day for 5-6 months, and I didn't get paid. But I went there to serve. Eventually, I started getting paid, right? But even till today, even though now I'm Steve Harrison, to some degree, my name means something and I've succeeded, I am still serving. Do you get what I mean? So for me, that I think that has made a significant difference. If I did not meet him, if I did not serve him, if I did not learn from him, even learn from people like Larry Olushola, who's coming after me, is an incredible mentor that I've also had the privilege to serve. Larry can call me and it's done. I call him CNC, Commander-in-Chief of Coaches. We are all of us who are in the coaching business. He's our commander-in-chief. So if Larry tells me do something, it's done. If Fela tells me do something, it's done. Right. So mentorship for me has become very important because I have learned. Do you get what I mean? Elisha was called the one who poured water in the hands of Elijah. Joshua was called the servant of Moses. You know what I mean? If you want to know, as a manly man, it's not about your name. It's about who your name is attached to. I need to say that again. You want to know you're a manly man. It's not about your name. It's who your name is attached to. So Elisha is the one who poured water in the name of Elijah. So it's Elijah's name that gives Elisha's name credence, even though Elisha's role is pouring water, but who he's pouring water for is different, right? Joshua might be called the servant of none, but who he is serving, which is Moses, gives him credence. So it's not about your role. It's about who your name is attached to. So people used to call me Fela's boy. It's okay. There are many boys, but there's only one Fela's boy. Do you get what I mean? So it's who your name is associated to. Do you get what I mean? So now I'm Fela's favorite son, Fela's first son, Fela's favorite son. There are many sons, there are many favorites, but there's only one, Steve Harris, who is Fela's favorite son. So you can argue about the role. He's just the role. The role doesn't matter. It's who my name is associated with. So I think that's what it takes to be a manly man. Yeah.
All right, another question here from Festus Peter Asani. He said, "Yes, I have a quick question for Steve. With what you've said, how were you able to start earning in the US when you faced resistance from the people?" Yeah.
How did I start earning in the US even when I faced resistance from the people? I mean, to be honest, it's not easy. There's still things I'm still learning how to do. I mean, I'm the first to tell you I'm not great at networking. It's not that I don't like people. I just don't like the whole going to meet, coming into meetings and everyone's getting, "Oh, what do you do? What do you do? Can I get your card?" I'm not a schmoozer. That's not me. So each time I walked into a room for networking events, I leave there feeling like I wasted my time. It doesn't mean that people aren't valuable. It just does not work for me. I feel it's a waste of my time because it doesn't put me in a position to show me at my best. So everybody's just coming at the same ground level. "Oh, what do you do? What do you do? Maybe I can do business with you." We all know we're not going to do business with each other. But if I get the platform or an opportunity to be at my best and do what I do, people will naturally come to me. You know what I mean? So I recognize that those kind of events don't work for me. But earning in dollars, I've gone into meetings. I've organized. I organized my first events in the US here, and nobody paid. Do you get what I'm saying? Nobody paid. Nobody paid, for real though. Nobody paid. These are the stories people won't tell you. I'm just telling you the truth. There's no fourth. I don't need to form. Nobody paid, right? So I took the L. Okay, what did I learn from this? Then I did another one. My second event, I got like maybe 25 people. Okay, we're making progress. We'll get into the permanent sites. But right now, it still does seem to some degree, and it's okay because I don't like to sound too spiritual, but right now I'm attracting more Nigerians, of course, because they would know you better. I'm attracting more Nigerians, but I've come into that place where I've told God, because people say, don't worry, see, white people don't buy from black people. White people just like to buy from themselves, black people. And black people said, here's the problem. White people don't like to buy from black people, and black people don't like to pay black people. Do you get what I'm saying? So it's a bit of a problem. And I remember one day, I prayed to God and I said, I didn't pray. I was sleeping and I heard, ask of me and I will give you the nations as an inheritance. So I started saying, God, I receive African Americans in America. I receive Asians in America. White people will pay me. Latinos will pay me. Chinese people will pay me. So that's been my confession, because everyone tells me, no, just be selling to Nigeria. But Nigerians don't want to pay. They're the ones that will drag you like Jen. And Nigerian America is the one who will still drag you like, oh boy, I bet, yeah, you get. So for me, I can't answer and say, yes, I've been making stupid money. No. I've been making more than enough to pay my bills and then some, because I'm learning to give myself grace and not to be difficult or too hard on myself. So what I'm doing is I'm making more than enough to pay my bills, not enough to give me my desires, but more than enough to pay my bills. And as I'm learning through the process, as I'm scaling, I believe that more will come. So, yeah.
All right. I think there's a final question tonight. It says, how do I volunteer as one of your coaches, Mr. Steve?
I'm only rocking with the best, man. I'm only rocking with the best. So you've got to be the best. Guys like FLA, guys like Williams Chukwudi are among the best. You know what I mean? So to be very honest, it's not about you. How do I explain this? Again, another scripture. Maybe I should be a pastor. Again, another scripture says, gather unto me those who have covenanted by sacrifice.
Yeah.
The people that I've had the privilege of working with are people who have covenanted with me through sacrifice. So they've been with me when I had next to nothing. They believed in me when I had next to nothing. And the least I can do now is to reward their faithfulness or their faith in me by showing that I have faith in them. Do you get what I mean? So yeah. It's not me. It's not you saying, "Oh, I have this skill. I want to come and work with you." Nah. Have you paid some sorts of price? Can I trust you? Can I trust that if I give you an example, real example? I had somebody who was working with me as one of my coaches, and that person was pitching their own products and services. That's a lack of integrity. You don't do that. Williams cannot invite me to this platform and I will sell something. I will not. I'll sell William. If you want to work with me, go and work with William. If FLA has an event and he's calling me, I'm not going to sell anything. I'll sell him because I came for him. Do you get it? So you can't come on my platform and sell yourself without my permission. I think it's wrong. I think it's wrong ethics and it's a lack of integrity. So just to put that in perspective, so go and serve someone. Go and solve a problem. It may not necessarily be at the level you want. When I first met Fela, and I'm sorry to take too much time. When I first met Fela, my solution, I didn't want anything from him beyond just being in his space, but I knew that I needed to earn my place at his table. And in sitting down, I recognized one day that he had a lot of amazing messages, but he had no merchandise at the time. He didn't have books, he didn't have audios, he didn't have nothing. And I figured, okay, if I can help this man create merchandise, then maybe that will get me through the door. And I came up with a 12-page plan on how I could help him make, and this is in 2005, how I could help him make over $1 million selling CDs. So that got his attention. And then when I started volunteering, Fela never had the opportunity, he never had the time to sit down and let me record him. So what I did was I started finding messages he had preached in different churches, and I would edit those messages, buy CDs with my money, because he didn't give me money, because he didn't understand what I was trying to do. He liked the idea, but he wasn't ready for it at the time. There was no proof of concept. So I took the CDs that he had preached maybe in one church somewhere. I learned how to burn CDs, print on the CD cover. I bought packs of CDs. I bought a CD machine, CD duplicator with my money. He was not paying me. I bought it with my money, right? I bought a CD duplicator, bought a bunch of CDs, and I started duplicating CDs. So there was a time we had like 100 CDs. Then Fela went to one event, and I remember, please forgive me just for this, Williams and FLA. I remember that the events we went to, I came with 100 CDs. He didn't know what I was doing, so I just came in my bag, 100 CDs. And Fela was speaking. No, people were speaking, and then somebody was at the projector, but the person was projecting and using a laptop, but the person wasn't in the flow. So I decided, okay, let me go and help. So I left the VIP, and I went to go and sit down at the projector, right, with the laptop projecting. So as speakers were talking, I was writing their points, bullet points, and I was putting it on the screen. So as somebody saying something deep, I'll just put it on the screen. Then it now dawned on me as I was doing that, oh, Fela is going to speak. Maybe I can drop an announcement that if you want a CD, you can buy it. Now, remember, I came with the CDs. So what I did was, So what I did was, before Fela's session, I went to meet all the ushers. I went to meet the ushers and I said, please take these CDs. They're 1,000 naira. I think it was 1,000 naira. They're 1,000 naira. When Fela's, if people want to buy, please give them, collect the money, collect their name, collect their email address, collect their phone number, and collect the money. So when Fela started speaking, he didn't know. He was just talking. I was putting his points. As they were putting his points, I also said, please, if you want to get Fela Doroso CD, meet an usher. Long story short, guys, we finished the event. I had 100,000 naira cash in a nylon bag. I walked into the car with Fela. We're driving back in the Range Rover. And I said to him, oh, FD, I have something for you. He said, what? I said, I have 100K for you. So I brought a nylon bag with 100,000 naira. He said, where did you get this money from? I said, I sold your CDs. He said, what CDs? I said, your CDs. He said, I don't have CDs. I said, yes, sir, you have. Because I printed 101 CDs. So I gave him the 101st CD with his name on it. And I said, this is what I just sold. So I sold 100,000 naira worth of CDs. From that point, he knew that I had proof of concept. And then his merchandise took. So every book you've seen that Fela Dorote had, I was part of it. CDs, I was part of it. You know what I'm saying? So that's my point. So answering the question to the person about volunteering, go and solve a problem for someone that keeps that person awake at night, but the person may not be aware of. That's what you need to do. So, yeah.
I love that. I love that, Steve. Thank you so much. Daniel said, serve. Of course, we've known that service is the pathway to honor. And your own service is not just the service, it's a creative service, because it's not just waiting for something to be given to you, but you searching out for something you can do around who you are serving and solve a very deep problem. I remember also one of the days TC was also sharing with us about what you did for him, and he was
who's that?
The catalyst.
Lara Lushala.
Okay. Oh, really?
Yeah.
I don't even remember.
Classes. So thank you so much, Steve. Thank you for coming, and thank you. Hopefully, do you have any other question for him?
No, I think that's all. That's all. The story alone has answered all the questions.
I love Steve. I'm telling you, and I think I need to uncover more from our last discussion, because a lot of things are. To just make sure that access is used properly. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Right.
Guys.
So over to you, please.
All right. Thank you so much, Steve. I think it's been a wow session with you. It's day 2 is starting on a very hot platform. I'm telling you. Right now, it's time for us to have a panel discussion. So I want my brothers to please come up. Yeah. We have Chucky in the house, Raheem in the house, Collins in the house, Emmanuel in the house. I heard Raheem telling me that Steve is deep.
Oh yes, he's deep. I know the scriptures about that. Much depth. He's deep with knowledge.
Yeah. So before you go, FLA. So Daniel is the you should be able to know how to connect.
Daniel says, I have a community I would like to connect you with in the US. They definitely need to hear you. All right, all right. I think I'll try and connect with him so I can connect them together. Is that fine, sir?
All right, that's fine. That's good.
All right, Daniel. Thanks, man. We'll reach out to you. Okay, we'll reach out to you. Reach out to you. Right. It's time for us to have a panel discussion before we bring Dr. Larulu Shola up for the final session today. But before I start talking with the men, let me ask you guys a question. How has the sessions been so far? How has it been so far? Let me read in the comment section. But while the comment section is going on, let me start with Emmanuel. How was that session for you?
Well, that session was very inspiring. That's one word. And you guys might not know, I have a bunch of people that have mentored, that I'm still mentoring, that have joined, that are all over the place right now. And we're actually chatting at various platform, WhatsApp and everything, just giving. I think one of the things that has stood out is that analogy of jam. You know, we normally say, then give me, then give me, then give me. You know, but this, you know, you were offered and you took it, and it's very hard because we think if we don't take it, then we'll lose out. It reminds me of my son when my son got his first, admission into University of Lagos. He was first, for first batch, but unfortunately, they just threw him to another course, and he said he's not going to take it. I said, well, if you don't want to take it, it's fine. But I'm not going to pay for another jam. You have to wait for another year or two or whatever. And he said, fine. So what do you do? Go add value to your life, learn to code. And that's what he did. 2 years later, he got another admission again. Now, 99% of his friends had no idea that he was not in school. And 100%, because he was just living his life normally. He learned to code, he learned to do whatever. 2 years later, he got another admission, same school, Unilag, and he accepted, eventually. But I think it's, they say when life throws you lemon, you make lemonade. I cannot disagree. Why must I make lemonade? Why must life give me lemon? If you want me to make lemonade, then give me sugar, give me ice, give me water, give me a jug, give me whatever. You don't just make lemonade with just lemon. You need more. So I think it's that power of choosing, that in rejecting, I choose. Then in choosing, I reject. And just to know that I actually have the right to choose or reject. Don't blame life. Oh, I'm this because I'm this or whatever. It doesn't work out that way. I mean, my parents never went to university, and my mom lived and died without being able to read and write. And here I am, where I am. I have another brother who has 2 PhDs and every single thing. So it's not where you're coming from. It's not where you're coming from. It's what you decide to do with yourself. I was born dyslexic. I didn't start speaking on time. I did but I was told you can't do this, you can't do that. But I put them wrong. And somebody told me, you're doing a PhD. I said, yes, I'm finishing a PhD, and everything. So it is what you want to do with your life that really matters. It's not what life throws at you. So I think it was very challenging as well as very inspiring. And I really thank our manly man, Chucky, for bringing Steve on board.
All right, thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Yeah, Collins, how was it for you? Collins, can you hear me?
Yes, can you hear me now? I don't know. The unmute button seems to have a mind of its own. Okay. Very, very powerful and deep session. I'm still thinking about it. In fact, I'm still very, very quiet in my spirit. Very, very powerful. And I believe Steve gave his all, and it was really, really like, calling out the power of God, belief, visualization, and the ability to be different. You get. So putting all these things together, they are very, very powerful. And even the poem he talked about, I'm going to download it. I'm going to stay on it for a very, very long time. Yeah, the poem I've known before, but I think with this message, it comes with a new meaning with the current season. So it's something I'm going to sit down and still digest further. I thank him for being vulnerable. I thank him for his time, and I also thank God for his life and that of Chukudi for putting this together. Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir. Yeah, Ryan. I know
Oh,
you
thank
said
you
you
very
should.
much.
Can you press it further?
Oh, yes. You know, I'll say first off, there are some people that speak that get my attention. I think this is the first time I'm hearing Steve speak. But I remember the first time I saw him, he got my attention. I don't know what it was about him. So just like the catalyst, the first time I saw him got my attention. I just said there was something about him. Same thing I went to go and research about Steve. And truth be told, my gut was not wrong.
Mm,
When he was talking from a space of, you could tell, natural humility. He was natural in his delivery. You could tell that he was not bragging. He was telling you as it is. You know, when you talk about the front end and the back end, and he was doing
yeah.
that seamlessly, you know. And you could see that he was also concerned about the misconceptions a lot of people have. It only takes a man, right, that is confident of himself to come and deliver what Steve just did. And I also add, right, what Steve did is something that all men should embody.
Yeah.
Know your worth, know your value. Don't rush for the grains. Know your worth, know your value, know what you are meant for, know what you bring to the table, and then bring it with all the pizzazz, if I may add, so that when people receive you, they know what they have received, they understand the quality. And we also mentioned some things of self-evaluation. You know, when people think everybody just goes for what is general, and I've been that kind of person. Everybody's
Mm,
going east. I need to find out what's happening in the west that's making you go east. Why should I just follow you and go east? Right? And that's what he did. He stood there. And in 1 year, what he has done, it's not everybody that can go through that.
yeah.
Right? And I would like to share with everyone here, right? Everybody has your unique space, your unique crowd, your unique personalities. And he mentioned something. He said he only goes with the best. And he
Mm,
talked about everybody. He even mentioned Chukudi, he mentioned FLA. And I can also say the same for Emmanuel and Collins. Once you are good in your industry, they will find you. Once you are
mm,
good with what you do, they will find you. Once you are humble to serve, and that's something he mentioned. Oh, that hits differently. You know how it is. You know how it is right now, especially with the new generation. Everybody wants it fast. You don't want to
yeah.
work. You want to invest, but you want to get it now. You don't do that. You need to serve.
Mm,
You need to
mm,
invest. Spend your funds,
mm,
spend your money, you know. And then when the fruit
mm.
starts coming out, people will not understand what has gone on at the back end. They'll just see the finished
True.
product, right? They don't
True.
understand the investments. So I'd like to thank all of you here, and I'd like to thank Chuki, for putting this together, bringing men of like minds, and the quality of speakers so far. Man, that's the end. Is what the end of discussion. Great men, but you hold on to my mic, but I'll let you guys speak.
All right. Thank you so much, sir. Yeah. The man himself, Oga Williams. How
Yeah,
was that for you?
thank you, man. For me, it's a kind of reawakening. While Steve was talking, I was processing a lot of things on my mind, a lot of them. And of course, I was looking at the common thing that we do. So when Steve talked about strategy over energy, I tried to relate it to everything I do. And we give this energy attention, more attention than strategy. And that is why it's just spinners that are dropping.
Mm,
We just put energy there without so much backing of a strategy. And those examples with Esau and Jacob is just classical. And then when he came down to talk about the way we accept it, when he talked about that, I remember one quote I wrote somewhere in my diary, in my journal, that God gave me one day. He said, "Everything given to you in life is acceptable by choice.
mm,
Everything given to you, offered to you, is acceptable by choice." He said that, and I remembered that. I said, "Yeah, I've gotten this thing before, where you
mm,
don't just accept what is thrown at you. You still have the choice to to accept something." And when you refuse to just look beyond today, like Miles Moreau will say, when you refuse to become the victim of today and start looking at the ultimate, that's where this whole thing he's talking about will start making sense. You just don't want to be a victim now, a victim of today, a victim of what, how do I pay the bills, what happened next, and all that. And you start thinking about the ultimate, especially when you know that God has given you an assignment. So this whole session with Steve is so classical, so amazing. And I want to thank Steve so much because of his reliability. This was the same thing he did the day I met him. You know, we're in a restaurant and the guy opened up like we've known for like 5, 10 years, you know, and shared the story. And we're able to relate with it. We are upcoming coaches, and somebody at his level is telling you now that he's in the US, there he had a program and nobody paid. It gives you that understanding, man. Calm down and give yourself time as a coach. Relax. Don't look at the numbers and think that you're not doing something, you know. But so the story, the whole session is classical. Thank you so much, Steve. Thank you, and I appreciate you once again. Thank you, FLA. Thank you, everyone in this studio.
All right, thank you. You know what Steve talked about actually is going to guide our conversation going forward. Steve started by saying being a man actually stretches you, and we're talking about troubleshooting the mind. And for me, being a man actually is stretching. What goes through the mind of a man? I'm not quite sure many people want to understand it. So I want to start with Emmanuel. I want to ask you, Emmanuel, a question. As a man, can you tell me 2 things that are actually topmost in your mind as a man? That wakes you up almost every day.
Wow, Femi, you always have a way of putting me on the spot. Yes, great question, and I like the way the flow. By the way, those who are viewing at this time, I have so many of my friends saying, "Oh man, they are in a meeting. They would like to join." Listen, this thing is recorded on all the platforms, so you can go and view it, and it's unscripted. By the way, it's unscripted.
Yeah.
So Femi says, it's beer parlor. Yesterday was beer parlor talk. This one is
Yeah. Yeah, this one is pepper soup. This one is pepper soup joint.
Pepper soup. Personally, one of the things that, and a lot of my friends who are there and their mentees who are here will really say, is making a difference. I sleep, I wake up every single day thinking, what can I do different? What can I do better? I don't take no for an answer. As a matter of fact, my wife will tell people, if you tell my husband he can't do something, you are simply asking to go do it. If you tell immediately you say it can't be done, that is when I want to do it. So I'm thinking, what can I do better? That rings. Just yesterday, one of my colleagues was like, "Oh, Emmanuel, are you back from Turkey?" I said, "I'm not back." "Oh, you didn't tell me you're going to stay behind." I said, "Well, I'm actually working while I'm here. I've not stepped out. I've been going through things, rewriting scripts, my teaching, and tomorrow I'm having a session with my students, a virtual session, whatever I do. It's not about where I am, it's about, can I do it better? It keeps me awake every day, just thinking about that. So again, because of how I grew up, I didn't get a lot of opportunities or believe to do something, to be someone. So I had to fight through. When I tell people I taught myself to read at 13, people are like, "Are you serious?" I say, "Yeah, I taught myself to, at 12 going to 13, taught myself to read, began to driving a car at 13. People didn't believe I could, whatever. So to me, it's just an adventure. So that's what I think about. How can I be better than I was yesterday? And it's not a competition. I'm not competing anyone. It's just what drives me, and that's it. And that's what I believe why we are all here. And just to serve. When Steve was talking about serving fella, and I think about there's one man that is one name that's common with all of us, who brought all of us here together. It's amazing. And what we all do, what you guys do for free, it's this kind of community that really gives you a reason to want to think and to want to be. So that's what drives me and challenges me every day.
All right, thank you so much, Emmanuel. Let me go to Raheem now. Raheem, still talking about stretching, because I know men really barely talk about issues except when it gets here. What are the things you think with the men you've related with? What are the things that are stretching the minds of men all around? A man that's more like, oh, more, I won't keep myself. What are the things stretching the minds of men?
I think your question is very profound, right? And when we talk about men, I think we should also talk about men in terms of context, right? And from this context, I would like to look at responsible men, right? What stretches responsible men? And I come from that perspective from the fact that most men, what comes to their mind first is how to provide for those that are around and under them. They have that
Mm,
responsibility to take care of everyone that is under them, those that they are responsible for, their immediate families, their
mm,
workers, their relatives, their in-laws. So when a man wakes up in the morning and believes he has to provide for people, he starts thinking, what do I need to do? It's like the lion and the gazelle. He wakes up in the morning and needs to run. And Steve gave a good example. When you have the goats in the backyard, the system is already in place, right? It's easier for you to implement. So the question is, every man that wakes up in the morning and is stretching, you need to ask yourself, what is your strategy? Why do you
mm,
wake up? What is pushing you? Right? When you wake up in the
mm,
morning, what is pushing you? What makes you run? What makes you think that you need to run? What makes you want to be active? For
mm,
me, it's in most cases provision and a sense of
mm,
responsibility. A
mm,
responsible man will not wake up and decide he wants to sleep and say, no, life will take care of itself. No. He's thinking. When he's going to bed, he's looking at his wife. She's going to wake up. He's looking at his children when they go to bed. They're going to wake
mm,
up in the morning. Think about the relatives. If he has parents, what do they need? And that's why you now ask yourself that typical question. Why is it that responsible men think about themselves last? They provide for every other person. That's when they now realize, oh, I've not done this for myself. That's even if they remember that they've not done something for themselves. So when you have a man that thinks about that, you know that yes, you're talking about men. And the second part is, and this is where it all comes to roost. When a man thinks about his purpose, what was he made in the first place? Most men just go to work. Okay, let me just go and earn and provide. Let me just go and earn. But it takes another level of a man to think deep. What is he here for? What was he created for? And Nightingale said it once. He said, you can talk to a man, to 20 men for a day, for 30 days, and you not find one man that knows why he goes to work. Ask him, why
mm,
do you go to work? He cannot tell you categorically why he goes to work. Because everybody goes to work. Or because I found my parents going to work. Or because everybody earns money. That's what. But when you ask him, why are you going out? They have
mm,
not really thought about that question. And that's where the difference comes. When you ask a responsible man, or I talk to a man of purpose, why does he go out every day? Why does he work every day? Why does he want to earn every day? And he
mm,
can answer you clearly. Then you're not talking about the men, all right? And that's one of the
mm,
advantages of this particular summit that we have. It makes us realize who the potentials, or rather, who potential men are, what the potentials of a man is, and majorly how to bring out who the man is within you. And not just when they call you a man in the north, they'll say Maza. It's not about being Maza. No, it's not like that now. There are different levels. So ask yourself, are you the man, right? Are you
mm,
a man? Are you a man of purpose? Have you
mm,
served? Are you teaching others that are coming up behind you to be real men so that once you're gone, you have a replacement? Have you thought deep in this regard? And then
mm.
you know whether you're going to bed to sleep properly or you're sleeping with one eye closed. Or when you wake up in the morning, you have somewhere to go. I hold my mic, my brothers, and I'll let you guys speak.
Wow, thank you so very much. Now let me go to Collins. Now, Collins, I've heard Raheem, I've heard Emmanuel. Emmanuel talks about one of the key things in the mind of a man is making a difference. Raheem mentioned provision and a sense of responsibility. Now, what will you say is a strategy, or what can a man do that even during this stretch, he doesn't break out? He doesn't break down, sorry. What can a man do?
Okay, thank you very much, FLA. I think the first is to have a vision. compelling vision. Okay, you have a picture of what you want to do and begin to clarify it as you go along the way. So vision is clear and is very important. The second thing is that you have to have a goal. That is the strategy, the steps to be able to attain that vision. All right. There are scientific ways of doing this. There are psychological ways of doing this. There are emotional ways of setting goals. You understand? You have to set it like that. I often say that until a goal is set psychologically, is framed neurologically, and is emoted emotionally, and affirmed positively, is just a wish. Okay, so there are steps to setting goals. So you must have that. Then you must have a supportive network, a network of people, ride or die friends. Steve shared about himself and his friends. Because sometimes as a human being, you would break down, or you would want to, your passion is not at its level where it's supposed to be. You need people to support you. So you need a good support system. Then you also need what's it called now? A strategy regarding your physical health and emotional health. Okay, be it exercise, be it what you allow inside, because what you allow into your head, your what you see, like it's like the Bible will say that the eyes, you guard the gates to your soul, which are your eyes, your ears, and your mouth. Okay, what you say, what you hear, you have to be very, very careful about those things. So I would say have a vision, get good goals properly set, get your what's it called, get a good support system, then have
Yeah.
a routine that you follow, be it exercise, and then also guard the gates to your soul. Very, very important. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Collins. Now let me go to Chucky. Now, Chucky, I don't want to assume that every man who has been stretched survived. Some actually broke down. We have some men who are currently damaged. We have some men who've gone through some certain things, and because of they're trying to make a difference, because they're trying to provide, they are down. They are down and out. What will you say is a recovery? Should I use the word strategy? A recovery strategy, or a recovery map to bring a man back even after he had fallen and he's damaged and is down and out?
Thank you very much, Efele. And I love what Colin said about support system. Now, let me bring something from the scriptures. The prodigal son actually wanted to make a difference. He wanted to make a difference, and he took his inheritance and moved on. And eventually, he came back. But there's something like where you're coming from. Not everybody that travels the way of the prodigal son survives it. Not many of them comes back. Not many. A few actually comes back. So if you look at that strategy, the strategy the guy used, first of all, he came to himself. Now, it starts with self-awareness. It starts with you assessing your present condition, your present situation. And there's something we must know. I don't want to use the word, like there's a song in Nigeria there that everybody sings, but let me not just bring in an appropriate word here. So the guy said, if you have not, he used therefore, you have not done this, raise your hand up. If you have not messed up, if you have not fallen, if you have not done anything, I want to see your hand up. Every one of us here that is in this studio, everybody you can ever imagine have been in a place where it was almost like we're out. But one strategy that works very well is self-awareness. Is you understanding at a point where you are so stretched and you are out, and then you are now at a point where you feel like there's nothing more to lose, to come to understanding that, see, I need to start retracing my step back. I need to know who I can call. I need to know who can listen to me now without judging me. I need to know what I can do now. So if you are able to make that self-assessment, sometimes you have, in fact, I have found out that every given person in this life has someone that God has given to him, like Colin said, as a support system. So at that moment, you might be someone who is feeling like you cannot afford to pay a coach. But then there are people around you, someone that you stopped calling, someone that you know that if you call on him, he can sit down with you to assess the whole thing and then see the way forward. Now, the second thing you must know is that you just have to come to a place where you ought to be vulnerable, where you have to be naked and not ashamed, where you have to be naked and not ashamed, where you know that you are down, and there's nothing much to do again. It's time to move. It's time to start recovering. It's time to open myself up and have this surgery done on me. You must do that. And I'm talking to men in particular. It doesn't matter how far things has gone, how bad it has gone. There is still the chances, and these chances must be made by you. They don't just come automatically. You just have to come to that place where you believe that it's time to move forward. These chances must be created by you. This opportunity for yourself must be initiated by you, because most people don't even know what you're going through. Today we are all maxed up. Today we have filters on Instagram, we have filters all over social media, and nobody's seeing the behind. Nobody's seeing what is behind the filter, what is behind the mask. So whatever you show people, that's what they know. So it is your responsibility as a man to be self-aware, do self-assessment, create that type of opportunity for yourself to be open and have that surgery and start meeting people without those filters, without those masks. Without getting into anybody thinking that you are who you are not. And I said, I think whether it was your last week or last week, I talked about a post that I asked Collins to send to me then. It is okay not to be okay, just to be aware of that. It is okay to ask for help. It is okay as a man to ask for help. It is okay to say that I fell. It is okay to say I fell. It is okay to say that I messed up. It is okay to come and do all those things and talk to someone about it. It is fine. All your target or your outcome is simply, I need to get out of this thing. And if that is your outcome, damn everything about what people will say. Because the truth is that people don't even say anything. People don't even think about it. If they think about you, they will be asking after you. The reason why they don't ask after is because they don't think about it. So why should you bother yourself with what they will say? So go and find it yourself. Create those stuff for yourself. Don't wait for any man. Thank you, FLE.
Thank you. Wow. I looked at my time now. Time is gone. But it would be nice to hear one from everybody. My question to everybody now is simple. It's going to sound more like yesterday. It's a simple question. How far is too far in stretching? How far is too far when we need to stretch? Two from everybody, because we need to bring the catalyst up right now. Let me not start with Emmanuel now, so I don't put you on the spot. Let me start with Collins. Collins, just two things. How far is too far when you stretch?
Yeah. Okay, when it affects your health, especially when your sleep is bad. Yeah. Then secondly, when it affects your family too.
Thank you, sir. All right, Raheem. How far is too far? I think you're muted, sir.
Okay, yes, thank you very much. This is one of those deep questions, and it varies with individuals. Because I'm one of those people that believes that everything is possible once you set your mind to it. So when it's too far, is when you're living out of yourself and you're comparing yourself. For me, that's one. Then secondly, once you stop competing with yourself, right? And you now start competing with a figment of somebody else's imagination. As I think it was Charles Cooley that said that I am not who I think I am. I am not who you think I am. I am who you think I am who I think you think I am. And that's where the problem starts, a perception of a perception. So once you step out of yourself, right? And then you start believing you're somebody else, that is when it is too far from me.
Thank you, sir. All right, Emmanuel, let's have you. How far is too far?
Yeah, for me, I think it's when you realize that you are no longer living for a mandate that you have. You're no longer living, for that calling that you have. You are not living for what other people will say. I think that's too far. And that's why it begins to affect your health. It begins to affect your relationships, family, and everything. So I think as men, we also need to know where to draw the line. It's not about being lazy. Just like Steve said, It's sometimes just to chill and just believe best. You work hard, work smart, or sometimes you just also watch what you are learning in this situation. That's what I have to say. Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir. Chucky, lastly.
All right, I think for me, how far is too far should be just on one thing. Don't avoid comparison. Avoid comparison. Try as much as possible to stay away from unhealthy competitions and comparison. Find yourself in a community where there is accountability, there's checking, not where there's comparison. Please, it's something you just have to watch out for because it's one of the leading causes of stress, one of the leading causes of depression. Thank you very much, my friend.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. So, on that note, I think the panel will step down a bit because we now need to listen to the chief of all coaches. That is the Catalyst. The Catalyst will be joining us right now. Definitely, we'll be playing a record of him because as we speak, is currently airborne. It's currently airborne because of the time difference, but we have a recorded version of what he was supposed to share with us. I'm not quite sure you need more introduction about what the Catalyst is. That is Dr. Larry Olushola. We'll play a video recording of that shows his profile to everybody. Then afterwards, you will be listening to the man who brought us all together as a team. That's Dr. Larry Olushola. Now, over to you, sir.
Possible for you to live life without money. What do you do without money?
Founder and Chief Catalyst at OLCA Coaching Academy, a mind, emotions, behavioral and culture transformation academy working with individuals and organizations to transform lives by transforming minds. Dr. Larry Olushola is recognized for his unparalleled expertise in integrative coaching and transformational catalysis. His extensive array of publishing, writing, provocative interviews, and transformational keynote speaking, alongside his incredible work with government and diverse industry leaders and executives, also with individuals and world-class organizations across the globe. He is renowned for pioneering the life coaching industry in Nigeria and creating the first wholly integrative coaching academy in West Africa. With over 2 decades of integrative coaching experience, the Catalyst is a certified General Electric Executive Coaching Master Trainer and a GE Regional Crotonville Executive Coaching Faculty member. Extremely passionate about people, the Catalyst works to bring about rapid, permanent and holistic transformation. Over the last 2 decades, he has created, mastered and deployed integrative transformative catalysis. His work cuts across various frontiers with individuals, organizations, families, couples, groups and governments, all with a primary goal of rapidly transitioning them from where they are to where they desire, deserve and are designed to be. His advanced studies in energy psychology, psychodynamics, neuro-linguistic programming, and quantum physics led him to become a UK certified matrix reimprinting practitioner, emotional freedom technique, and cognitive behavioral therapist.
So, money is only attracted to the people that understand the fundamental principles of how to create it, how to grow it, how to sustain it, and how to transfer it.
He holds an MSc in Coaching and Behavioral Change Psychology from the prestigious Henley Business School, Reading University, UK. He is currently undertaking a doctorate in coaching and mentoring from Oxford Brookes University, Oxford, England. He created the ESP and VSP 5-star performance models, which have been used globally to alter complex behavioral, traditional and cultural codes, programs and paradigms, one of the many beneficiaries being the Stanford University's affiliate faculty, the Institute for Venture Designs. In April 2022, he was conferred with 2 honorary PhD degrees at the same time, one in behavioral change psychology and the other in humane letters. His undying passion for a renewed and expansive mind, often achieved in an unconventional manner, has led him on several trips around the world, resulting in many lives, marriages, teams, institutions, organizations, and nations being transformed. He has received numerous awards for his impact in the coaching industry in Africa and across the world. He was named Coach of the Year at the 2022 Africa Coaching and Consulting Award for having achieved all-round excellence in integrated coaching in Africa, and also received the Pioneers Award in recognition of his immense contribution to the development of the speaking and coaching industry in Africa in 2022. The Catalyst, Dr. Lanre Olusola, was honoured with the Guardian Award by the Board of Patrons and Faculty of EMY Africa Awards. He was recognised as a thought leader, role model, and inspirational leader who has demonstrated the ability to nurture mentees, coaches, and proteges. According to the organisers, the Catalyst has evidenced an unwavering commitment to positively impacting people through his work in coaching, psychotherapy, and mentoring in Africa and beyond over the years. Being an avid writer, he has consistently written several articles for Genevieve Magazine, Guardian newspaper, Bella Niger blog, and on his own website blog. Some of his writings were published in May 2022, making him one of the very few authors to write, publish, and launch 8 books at the same time, all in one day. He serves as an executive director and sits on the board of Ebony Life Group, Avis Nigeria, Lagos Mums, and is chairman of PR24, one of Africa's top security companies. He is joint founder and member board of trustee at the International Coaching Federation, Nigeria. He sits on several other boards and is the founder and fellow of the Life Coaches Association of Nigeria and a fellow of the Institute of Management Consultants. He has been married to Modupe Ori Onikepo for the last 23 years, the CEO of the biggest Hilton hotel in Africa and the most profitable Hilton hotel in the world. They are blessed with 2 beautiful and incredible daughters, Tiwani Oriofe Oluwa and Ikiope Oluwa.
You want to bamba? You want to team with the big boys?
Ladies and gentlemen, please make welcome the Catalyst, Dr. Lanre Olusola.
If you do not mind. And so, if you see my slide, please, I want you to send into the chat group. I want you to send a yes. If you can see my slide, send me a yes, yes, yes. If you can see my slide, send me a yes, yes, yes. Fantastic, fantastic. So, I've got 20 minutes to lay the foundation and then we'll go to Q&A. And what is man? If you notice, I did not ask who is man. I asked what is man, because man consists of who and a what. But I want to focus on what is man today. David asked, what is man that you're mindful of him? And what is man that, you visit him, that you created him only a little lower than Elohim? And this was a question that the angels were asking. Look, who is this guy? What is this guy that God created that God's attention focuses on him? And I want to take my text from Genesis 1:28 and 1 Corinthians 13:4-8. just to lay some grounds on what man is. You know, man is created in the image and the express likeness of God. So here on earth, we were created to be God's representative. We're here to expressly show mankind, to show creation God's image and God's likeness. We were created to, one, be fruitful, to multiply, to replenish the earth, and to subdue it, and to take dominion. And most importantly, because the person whose image and likeness we have, the Bible says that he is love. We were created for love, to love and to give love. Now, the expression, the likeness, the image, the fragrance that we're supposed to diffuse here on earth is the fragrance of love. So man, you were created for love. You were created to give love. Now, love is not a feeling. It can be expressed through a feeling. But love is a dedicated, affectionate commitment to humanity. And love expresses itself as patience. So love is a verb. Love is patient. Love is kind. Love does not envy. Love does not boast. And so these are the key performance indicators of what you are, man. Are you fruitful? 100%. Are you multiplying? 100%. Are you replenishing the earth? 100%. Are you subduing the earth? 100%. And are you in full dominion? 100%. Above that, are you love? Now, the key performance indicators of love is, one, patience, kindness, no envy, no boasting, humility, being honorable, being respectful, being selfless, being emotionally intelligent and mature, being forgiving, rejoicing in truth. Love protects, love trusts, love is trustworthy, love hopes and gives hope, love preserves, and love never fails. I want you to look at yourself and ask yourself, if I was rating myself for a job as a man using these qualities and these critical performance indicators, what would I score? Quickly, I want you to send your average percentage score into the chat group. Fruitfulness means that you are fruitful in everything you lay your hands to do. Multiplication means that you have reproduced yourself. You have reproduced your purpose. You have reproduced the solution that you were born to be. Replenishment means that you are taking over. Subduing means that you are killing the works of the enemy in the area of influence that you're in, spiritually, emotionally, mentally, psychologically. And today, we're going to be talking about mentality. That is the psychology and the emotional dimension of man's existence. And what is mentality? Is the capacity for intelligent thought. Wow, the capacity for intelligent thought. And so when we combine man and mentality, we are saying that with all of these key performance indicators, are you able, do you have the capacity to intelligently think through all of the time and manifest in all of these things that God expects you to manifest in? Now, if you're not doing this, then there is something that is stopping you. And I want to talk about that critical thing that is stopping you, that is your psychology and your emotional. The Bible says that as a man thinks in his heart, so is he. Wow. So what are the things that will stop you as we currently exist today? We all know, and we've all experienced COVID-19. And so many of us are stressed, many of us are worried, many of us are afraid, many of us are panicked, many of us are anxious. There's a pandemic, and it seems like none of us understand it, neither does anyone know how to stop it. And so based on research globally, Many people are anxious. Many people are afraid. Many people are worried. Many people are perplexed. Many people are discouraged. Many people are overwhelmed. Many people are despondent. Many men are, resentful. Many men are in despair. Many men are depressed, unhappy. They're in panic mode for their life, for their families, for their jobs, for their finances. Where do you fit? And how many of these emotions have you felt in the last 6 months? How are these emotions, how have they stopped you from being a real man, from manifesting your full manhood? How many of these emotions have you felt in the last 6 months? I want you in the chat group to drop it for me. How many of them? 3, 4, 5, 6, all? 80%, 90% of them? Because if you do not master your emotions, you cannot master your mentality. And if you cannot master your mentality, you cannot master your thinking. And if you cannot master your thinking, it's impossible for you to be the man that you were created to be. Based on a research that was done by McKinsey and Company during this COVID period, they realized that 35 to 42% of men were both anxious and depressed. They realized that 23% of men were anxious but not depressed. They realized that 26% of men were depressed but not anxious. They realized that between 27 to 34% of men were highly stressed. 53% had moderate stress. And to cope with both anxiety and depression, and with the level of stress that we are all feeling, 1 in 4 men had resorted to binge drinking. 1 out of 5 men had resorted to taking prescription drugs for non-medical reasons. And 1 out of 7 men had started to take illicit drugs, Indian hemp, cocaine, and all forms of drugs. According to research, 1 in 10 men experience depression and anxiety, but less than half seek treatment. Men die by suicide 3.5 times more often than women. 6 in 10 men experience at least one trauma related to accidents, physical assault, combat, disaster, or they witness death or injury once in their lives, and they are more likely to develop post-traumatic stress disorder after they experience trauma than women. Men are 2 times more likely to binge drink than women. Men consistently have higher rates of alcohol-related deaths and hospitalization. Men are also more likely to have used alcohol before dying or taking their life through suicide. 49% of men feel more depressed than they admit to be. Men are much less likely to voice their struggles with mental illness and even thoughts of suicide. Now, depression and emotion is now the 2nd leading killer disease and source of disability, and will be the world's #1 killer by 2030. And emotion is now the world's 2nd killer disease. In the next 10 years, it will be the world's #1 killer. Now, what are the symptoms of depression? Helplessness, overwhelming and intense, persistent feelings of helplessness, sadness, emptiness, hopelessness, uncontrollable crying, anxiety, panic attacks, low self-esteem, lack of self-worth, lack of energy, sleep disorders, eating disorders, unexplainable physical and emotional aches and pains, extreme withdrawal symptoms and loneliness, feelings of guilt, restlessness, irritation, anger issues, irritation, emotional instability, loss of interest, difficulty in focusing, fixation on the past and things going wrong, debilitating fatigue, weight gain and weight loss and lack of control of your weight, compelling recurrent limiting thoughts and thoughts of suicide. How many of these have you felt in the last 6 months?
And how many have you felt consistently in the last 6 months? Now, for you to be diagnosed as depressed, you must have felt 70% of this consistently for 4 weeks. So how many of us have consistently felt at least 70% of these symptoms consistently for 4 weeks in the last 6 months? Quickly send that message into the chat group so that I know who I'm speaking to. Now, there are medical effects of not being able to manage your emotions. So if you're one that is in constant fear, worry, and anxiety, you are releasing two deadly hormones into your body, adrenaline and cortisol. Now, what is the resultant effect of too much adrenaline and cortisol in your body? Depression, high blood pressure, chronic fatigue, insomnia, migraines, acid reflux, hostility, irritation, aggression, anger, hunger, arthritis, and the most deadly one is decrease in your immune system. As we speak today, the only thing that is keeping people alive and is combating the coronavirus is your immune system. You cannot afford to decrease, diminish, or lower your immune system. But every time you are afraid, every time you are anxious, every time you are worried, you are releasing cortisol into your system and you are diminishing your immune system. Fear, anxiety, worry diminishes your immune system, reduces glucose utilization, opens you up to the tendency for diabetes, increases bone loss, increases fat accumulation, impairs your memory, destroys your brain cells. It is important for you to master your emotions. It is important for you to build emotional resilience at such a time like this. Some of us have felt a lot of these symptoms, anxiety symptoms, lump in the throat, racing heart, palpitation, nausea, headache, cold chills, chronic fatigue, muscle tension, tingling, bloating, body pain, difficulty breathing, dizziness, restlessness, chest pain, tightness. How many of you have felt these symptoms in the last 6 months? These symptoms tell you that you've been encouraging a lot of anxiety, a lot of worry, and a lot of fear. What are you supposed to do now? It is for you to realize that these things that we're going through, there's nothing new about it. David had depression. King David was anxious and worried. Go check it out in Psalm 38, verse 4, Psalm 42, verse 11. Jonah was emotionally and mentally disturbed. He was even suicidal. Go check it out in Jonah 4:3, Jonah 4:9. Not only just those two gentlemen, Job, he lost everything. He was in emotional turmoil. Go check it out in Job 30:15-17, Job 3:26, Job 10:1. King Saul clearly had a mental disorder and mania and depression. His own case was termed spiritual possession. Go check it out in 1 Samuel 16:23, 1 Samuel 19:23. So what I'm talking about is not new. It has always been, and it will always be. But what is important is that this temporary challenge, this new normal that we are all experiencing, we do not allow it to degenerate into a permanent problem. You know why? Because the WHO has declared that 80 to 90% of disease is preventable. 80 to 90% of disease is preventable, and 95% of them is stress related, which means that 95% of disease, right, is stress related. That is, stress is at the heart of 90% of most disease. Now, beyond that, it is important for us to also recognize, according to what Dr. Bruce Lipton has said, that 95% of disease is caused by stress, and 100% of stress is caused by our wrong beliefs. There's a typo there, by our wrong beliefs. So in the last couple of months, you've been stressed. In the last couple of months, you've been depressed. In the last couple of months, you've been anxious. It is time for us to fight that fear, that anxiety, that worry with facts. And what are the facts? What are the facts? The facts remain that every year since 2017, the facts remain that since 2017, 57 million people die from different diseases every year, which means that about 4.75 million people die every month. The facts. So far, there's been 19 million cases of COVID-19. There's been 12 million recoveries and 724,000 deaths. If we multiply 4.75 million by 6 months, that's about 25 million. 25 million people have died from all sorts of diseases this year alone. But COVID has only killed 724,000 people. That tells you that really about 95% of people or more are surviving COVID-19. That's a fact. And the people that are surviving COVID-19 are surviving based on their immune system. So that means that for you to be alive, your immune system is working well and you are doing the right thing. So continue doing what you are doing and more to keep yourself alive, because guess what? COVID-19 will come and it will go. And as a man, it is time for you to make sure that you do the needful and you take responsibility. Now, there's 200 million of us in Nigeria, and there's been only 936 deaths. It means that God is keeping you alive for a purpose. He's keeping you alive to be fruitful, to multiply, to replenish, to subdue, and take dominion. He's keeping you alive to be loved and to show love to humanity. It's time for you to redesign your life. It's time for you to recreate your life. It is time for you to do things differently. And what do you need to do differently? You need to be adaptable and flexible to change, because this change is permanent. This new normal is permanent. Now, it is not the strongest of species that will survive. It is not the most intelligent of them that will survive. It's the most responsive to change. That is flexibility, adaptability, and response key to survive as we speak today. Now, let me round up with this scripture, Ecclesiastes 3:15. The Bible says that what is happening now has happened before. What is happening now has happened before. And what will happen in the future has happened before, because God makes the same things happen over and over again. Let me take that again from the NIV. Whatever has already been, whatever is, has already been. And what will be has been before. And God will call the past to account. What is God telling us there? God is telling us that this pandemic, something like it has happened before. And so if we look at the past, we will realize from the case study of Noah and the flood that God wiped up the whole earth in Genesis 6:9 to 17. Speaking about other coronaviruses and other pandemics, right? In 1981, there was the HIV. To date, 25 million people have died. There's the swine flu in 2009, 200,000 people died. And I can keep going on and on and on. Whatever is now has already been in the past. And what do we need to do now? There are 13 things that I believe that we need to do as men to transition ourselves from where we are now to where we want to be. God expects us to transition from the level of fruitfulness to the level of multiplication, to the level of replenishment, to the level of subduing, to the level of dominion. He doesn't want us to focus on only survival. He wants us to transition to the level of safety. He wants us to transition from safety to the level of stability. He wants us to transition from the level of stability to security, from security to self-worth, from self-worth to substance, from substance to success, and from success to significance. That is, the reason why you are alive is because your purpose is still relevant. Let me take that again. Man, the reason why you are alive today is because your purpose is still relevant. Life announces purpose. Death announces the end of purpose. So for you to still be alive today, your purpose is still relevant. Life announces the beginning of purpose, and death announces the end of purpose. We have all privilege to still be alive. God is keeping you alive for a reason and for a purpose. And for you to transition from a place of just mere survival to significance, from a place of mere fruitfulness to dominion, you have to live your life based on these 13 lessons that I learned from the story of Noah and God ending the earth and destroying everything. The first thing is you need revelation. Revelation transcends information. Revelation transforms education. You need to have a personal relationship with God for you to get revelation. So what is the revelation for your life for this new dawn? You have to tap into the essence of the Spirit of God to get it. Second, you need to realign yourself with God's purpose for your life, because the reason why you are alive is because your purpose is still relevant, and there's only one that is keeping you alive. The person you were before COVID-19 is different from the person that you are now. And the person you are now will be different from the person that you will be after COVID-19. You have to be adaptable. You have to reshape your life. And you have to tune in into God's revelation for your vision and for your purpose. The third thing is you need to reconnect with your purpose. You need to repurpose your life, and you need to reactivate your purpose. The fourth thing is you need to realign. That which was brought you up to this stage, and that which you will be, that which you are now, may not take you there. So what do you need to change in your life? You need to discover the solution that you were born to be. You need to discover the problem you're here to solve. You need to discover who has a problem that you are a solution to. And the only way to do that is deep reflection and research. What problems have you always solved that have given you the most fulfillment and satisfaction? What has God always said to you that your purpose is? What is it that people gravitate towards you to help them with? You've got to keep on doing that research so that you can find the reason why you're here. Purpose is the only reason why you're still alive. The sixth step is you now need to take a position to reorganize your life, reprogram your life, and reposition your life so that you can start all over again. The way you see the problem is the problem. You can see COVID-19 as a curse, but you can see it as a blessing. If you believe you can, or you believe you can't, you are right. You need to take responsibility for your life now and restart your life all over again. These are the 13 critical mentality steps that you need to take. The eighth one is you need to recreate your life in alignment with what God has shown you, with the purpose God has shown you, with the vision that God has shown you. And in recreating your life, you need innovation. You need to redesign your life. And then once you have done all 8, then reintroduce yourself into the marketplace, re-engage with the marketplace, develop the new relationships. The old relationships you had may not take you to where God is taking you to. You may need to do an audit and change your relationships so that it is easier for you to make the adjustments that you need to make. Readjustment is key. If you do not readjust to your environment, if you do not readjust to your relationships, if you do not readjust to the person that God wants you to be, you will be living a life of frustration, a life of depression, and a life that is unproductive. And the 12th thing is you now need to begin to rebuild your life so that you can experience the restoration of God and you can recover all that you have lost, or that you may have lost, or that you still have that you don't know. I say to people, it's not about what you don't have. It's about what you have that you don't know. It's about what you have that you have despised. It's about what you have that you don't know how to use. So for you to build a different mentality in this dispensation, you need revelation, realization, reconnection, repurpose, reactivation, realignment, research and reflection, reorganization, reprogramming, repositioning. You need to restart your life. You need to recreate your life. You need re-innovation, redesigning your life. You need to reintroduce yourself to the marketplace, whether digital, social, or physical. You need to re-engage. You need to build new relationships. You need to readjust at every point in time. You need to rebuild your life, your business, your career, so that you can experience restoration and recovery. Thank you.
Wow, that's so powerful. So powerful. So powerful. Always a refreshing moment hearing the catalyst speak, I must say. Always a refreshing moment. Those nuggets are so powerful. I can say wow in the comment section all through. For me, I think it's a wonderful way to wrap up this whole summit. But hey, let me hear from my brothers first. How was that session for you? All I'm saying here is wow. I'm saying claps. I'm saying thank you, Catalyst. It's fire. Let me say that word. It's fire. It's fire everywhere. All right, let me start with Collins this time around. How was that session for you? And what's your takeaway?
Powerful, FLA. You know, like you said, anytime the catalyst speaks, for me personally, there's always fireworks in my mind. Where the guy is something else. I think and the message is also very important for this season. All right, especially in our country where at a particular time where everything is seems not to be certain. So each of us need to begin to find that meaning, find that purpose, set our goals, and begin to move towards where we want to go. In fact, there's some research that has just come out that the depression that men have and that women have are different. That for women, the major risk cause for their depression is that they are looking for a sense of love, a sense of connection. But for men, they are looking for a sense of purpose, a sense of drive. You understand? So for us men, if we've not tried to find our purpose, is a time you need to find meaning in your life. You know, it's part of the arrows that the catalyst listed. Find meaning. It will help you stay healthy. It will help you contribute and become what God wants you to be. Thank you. I hear the mic.
All right, thank you so much, Collins. Ryan, how was that for you? I think you're muted. Or is it my side?
Okay, I'm audible
All
now.
right.
Okay, I said catalyst, right? You know, when he speaks and drops heavy bombs. His presence alone, it's captivating, right? And he has a way with words. A few things he said that got me was about stress. Can you imagine when they tell you about over 90% of the disease and challenges we face are attributed to stress, and everything can be healed? When you think about it fundamentally, now ask yourself, what is the major issue? When you can, especially someone like me that have had similar experience, right? That I just told myself that, okay, I am not giving in to this malaria of a thing that will be coming. Is it what they call my village people that every year malaria will be coming? And I told the malaria, as me and you today, it's not happening again. You'll be amazed. I didn't have malaria for about 7 years in a row. And it was something that was happening consistently. So at times, right, when you hear what he says and you relate it to your experiences and you try some of them, you just realize that it's heavy nuggets. And then position yourself after COVID, reevaluation, revalidation, reintroduction, relationship, re-energize. Everything is just apt because COVID changed everything. Imagine if not for COVID, would we be here today like this? You know, COVID has changed everything. Reintroduction. COVID has changed a lot of things, and those that refuse to adapt, sorry, right? And those of us that have decided to move on, well, the world's our oyster. I hold on to my mic. Thank you very much.
Wow. All right, let me listen to Chucky. Then Emmanuel, how was that for you, sir?
And that was profound. That was just like everyone said, the catalyst always kills it whenever you give it to him. It's so amazing. I'm so glad because this is one of the things somebody said in the comment section while he was talking. Now, what do you do here in Nigeria where everything is causing you stress? And I like what he talked about when he mentioned Bruce Lipton about your belief. One of the when he said Bruce said that 95% of diseases are caused by stress, and then stress is caused by your belief. So what I love about this understanding, excuse me, is that they help you to know that you know the roots and you can deal with it. You know the roots and you can deal with it. So we're not left in the dark. We understand that we know where this thing. So if we can go back to our belief about Nigeria, believe about ourselves, believe about our environment, believe about our government, believe about everything happening here, and sort it out, then the stress will go down. Then our health will come up. So that understanding is so profound. So profound. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you, sir. Emmanuel.
Yeah, let me
I
just
saw
grab
your
my
comments.
Yeah. Three things is, I think, is awareness. When you know, it is easier to treat. If you are living in ignorance, it's so bad. Sometimes the people will think somebody they jazz you from village, just being able to understand the power and the gravity of stress, especially on the man. There was a song I sent out to our private group. It's an old high life song. To be a man, it's not a day's job. I mean, there's so much. To be a manly man, I think I need to be self-aware. I need to be aware of my body, my mental states, my emotional states, and every single thing, so that it doesn't catch me unawares. Then number two is all the risks that I see. I have to re-engineer myself, really. Re-envision, revelation, all those. It's to turn things over, to ponder, to kind of change my paradigm. And finally, is to take charge. When I know where I'm going, when I know what I need to do, then no one should remind me. And I think for every man, and of course there are several women listening, there's a lady who sent me a WhatsApp message that she listened with her husband. Two of them, listened to yesterday's edition, and I'm sure they are also here. So behind all those, manly faces you are seeing, there are several women. If I want to take charge, what do I need to do today? To ease up my stress. I need to speak up. I need to find a community that can help me. I need to be vulnerable. So I think those are the three things: awareness, then to take charge for me. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, sir. All right, before I hand over to Chucky, I know it's been 2 powerful days listening to 4 speakers, 2 panel conversations. I know definitely certain words have actually hit us hard, and there's several thoughts coming to mind. We're ready. Some of us are making up plans. I'm going to do this differently. I'm going to stop this. I'm going to stop that. I just want to give the panel an opportunity to share one word with us that from this manly man conference I would just experience. What one word are you sharing with all the men listening to us today that you want them to go home with and begin to work upon? So where do I start from now? Emmanuel, not you. Let's tell me I picked on you again.
I won't mind. I won't mind.
All right. Okay, let me start with you, sir.
Okay.
One word you want the people to go home with and run with.
It's a compound word. I would like find a healthy community that will help you.
Find a healthy community that will help you, and tell us how you can be found. Sorry, I forgot to mention that.
All right. My name is Emmanuel. I can be found in all major social media. But on Instagram, I am msspeaks.com. DOTCONE, msspeaks.com. On LinkedIn, Emmanuel Eme. On Twitter, Facebook, Emmanuel Eme.
All right, thank you. Emmanuel is telling all the men.
Let him also tell us how he helps men also around him, so that people can plug them
All
into
right.
him there also.
Yeah, I
All right.
strongly believe in mentorship, and I have some of the men that I've mentored, listening here. Some of them are even commenting here. Nathaniel is in Uyo, Justice is in Lagos, and some of them are scattered all over the world right now. Is to spend time with people, listen to them, then work together with them, empower them, so that you'll be able to get out where they are. Of course, it's co-coaching. Some of these men have coached them for almost a decade, and they are virtually 90% married now, and they're having kids and everything. So it takes a lot of commitment, being able to play that father figure that we're taught, yesterday. So I became a father to many of them, all of them actually, not many of them, and also a brother, and also a helper. Then we walk through things together. Then I empower them. Then they are all unleashed, at this time. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. All right, Collins, let's have you, sir.
My last word will be that help is available. Don't die in silence. Don't die with what people are being saved for. Don't die in silence. So you can reach me on Instagram as Alonomo Collins, Facebook as Facebook Collins Alonomo, Twitter Collins Alonomo. Thank you for having me.
Thank you,
Collins,
Collins.
you can't end
Don't
like
die in
that.
silence.
Hold on. The program you have for stress relief. Tell people about it. You talked about stress. Let people know about your program for
Thank you, Chuki. Well,
stress relief.
I'm particularly called. Well, can you hear me? Can you
Yes,
hear me?
yes.
Okay. So I'm particularly called
Yes, we can. Yes, we can.
those things that prevent them from being such things is stress. So I have a couple of programs that help people deal with stress. A couple of sessions where we either change your beliefs, we help you manage your thoughts, and give you help very powerful tools to use to distress, so that you can be yourself and be who you were created to be. Because it's only a calm mind that does what God asks it to, what God has assigned it to do. Thank you, Chuki.
Thank you, Collins. Yeah, Rahim, over to you, sir. You're muted, sir.
Yes. Thank you very much. For me, one word would be originality. Know thyself, right? Know thyself. Once you know yourself, you don't bother yourself about perception or perceived perceptions. What you work about is the context, the intentional person that you are. So work with originality and know thyself, right? That's what I will tell everyone out there. Okay? And for me on social media, you can find me as Rahim Oreagba. Rahim, as it is spelled, Oreagba, Oreagba, on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, Facebook, everything the same. Okay? And what I help people to do basically is fine tune the mind. Let's see how we can create a vision for your life. Because the truth is, if you don't know where you're going, how can you get there? So, as a coach, will help you find out how you can get to your promised land, how you can get to where you want to get to. Remember, your life is in your hands. And if you create your future, you can get there. Thank you. I grabbed my mic this time. I'm not holding it.
All right, don't worry. Keep grabbing it. All right, let me have mine then. I'm going to hand over to the chief host, Chucky. What would my final words be? I think I'll have to borrow the word from Stevaris. That strategy is more important than energy. And for me, I think that is the way to go. Don't just disperse energy all around. Find a strategy, find a map that you can use that will take you from where you are to where you want to be. And my name is Femi Luther, and I help men, women, individuals, organizations. I help them live the life they've always loved to live. And you can find me on Instagram, Femi Luther, Femi spelled as Fewmy, and Luther is Luther. Instagram, Twitter is Femi Luther. So thank you for having me, and it's been It's been a pleasure being the MC for these 2 days. Over to you, Chucky.
Thank you very much. Thank you, FLA. So you did a fantastic job. I must tell you, like I always tell people, I'm the one managing his voice. So if you want that voice for your programs, a voiceover, just reach out to me so that we can pay to get that voice in your program. And of course, you have heard the voice. You can sell anything you want to sell. Thank you so much. Thank you, Emmanuel. Thank you, Rahim. Thank you, Collins. It's been fantastic doing this thing in 2023, and we'll be back in 2024. This is a yearly meeting we are doing for men. And next year is going to be very big, I tell you that. This is the inaugural session, inaugural program, and we know that by God's grace, it's going to go bigger. And we're going to have more men coming in, more speakers, and of course, more lives changed, more lives transformed, all right? So our job is to make sure that men at their different levels, different categories get help, get transformed, and of course, process them in a way that they need to be processed, and then make maximum impact in their personal lives, in their families, in their businesses, in the society at large. So this is what we're all about. So I want to thank every one of you who has joined since yesterday, who shared the link, who talked to people about it. Somebody was telling me today in the church, so the pastor was announcing it big time, make sure you join. Yeah, so I want to thank everyone that participated, everybody, all the team, my team members, at different levels that joined. I want to thank you so much for making this possible. And we're back here again next year. Thank you so much. Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys. And I want to tell you something. Reach out to all the coaches here. Of course, I have a program called Equip for Men. Equip for Men is all about just processing men for a life of significance. So find every man here. There's nobody you touch here in this studio now who does not have something to do with you and for you as a man. So you have a husband, you have a friend, you have a brother you feel that needs to be processed. Reach out to anybody on the studio here, all right? And see, we are men of service. So when Steve was talking about service, everybody in this place, in the studio, we are serving in different degrees with one of the top coaches, one of the top coaches in the world. And we are gladly doing it because we love what we are doing. We love our job, and our job also loves us. So, and we love men and we love people, and that is why we are doing this. All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys. I feel like not ending the broadcast, but we've got to go. We've got to go. We've got to go. We've got to go. Thank you and thank you. So we're going to be ending the broadcast in the next 5 seconds, and we hope that you can write us through different means, Instagram, as I am Chucky, Facebook, as Chucky, also on Twitter, as I'm Chucky, on LinkedIn. You can go follow us and write us personal testimonies, write us personal, get us feedback. Let's know how you want us to also do something differently. And of course, we are available for speaking in men's meeting, any men's meeting you are organizing at church level, at whatever organizational level. Just make sure you invite us for your retreats. Whatever thing you're doing, will come to give you value. Money. Thank you so much. We love you guys. Love you guys. Say bye-bye, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.